Okay, we are live now. Good afternoon to all the viewers of IndianTelevision.com and who've tuned into this webinar. Nearly 100 days into the lockdown due to the dreaded SARS-CoV-2 virus, life has never been more simple in the eyes of some. We've been at home in our commuters and in our t-shirts, and in the eyes of so many, so complicated and constricting. The virus's march, meanwhile, has been continuing unabated, and it seems to be picking up speed and intensity. By today or tomorrow, India is set to overtake Russia as the third most COVID 2019 infected nation in the world. Russia is at 661,000 odd cases. And unless it has a spike of 15 to 20,000 cases today and tomorrow, India with around 627,000 infections with a daily increasing infected head count of 23,000 odd, we will definitely surpass it and become the third most infected country in the world. That's not something we as a country need to be proud about. But what we can be proud about is the way the distribution platform operators or DPOs have been operating ever since the pandemic began, whether it's the DTH operators or the multi-system cable TV operators or the last mile cable operators. In order to ensure that the sensible mandate to stay at home to curtail COVID 2019 is followed, they have been working incessantly day and night to ensure that televised entertainment continues to be available in Indian homes. Yes, OTTs have also done their job, but viewing time on television has been at an all-time high. I would not like to even hazard a guess as to what the COVID 2000 numbers would have been had television not been available in homes. The DPOs, like the broadcasters who have had to resort to program reruns because they haven't been producing fresh content, have had their challenges in terms of collections, servicing. So the DPOs have also had their problems in collections, servicing customers' technical problems because of residential society restrictions until the government made it a mandatory essential service. But there's no doubt that everyone has put their best foot forward. Many of the DPOs and the broadcasters have made sizable donations to various help groups, and some have even served food to those on the forefront battling the virus. Some cable TV operators have even lost their lives in the process, is what we've heard. We as a distribution fraternity would like to salute those unsung heroes, the cable TV fraternity and the DTH fraternity, and of course the broadcasters. Today, state governments are unlocking human, trading, and economic activities piece by piece. TV productions have started, offices have started taking in some staff, very limited, and following strict operating protocols as laid down by state governments. FMCG companies and other marketers have adjusted to this new normal and have started activating and improving the supply chains in order to get goods into consumers' hands. Consumers have started to go out a bit and they're beginning to buy as compared to earlier. The action in the competitive broadcast sector is set to begin on 13 July, when fresh programming is slated to be telecast on the general entertainment channels. Of course, viewers starved of what was going on the lives of their favorite characters in TV shows on Star Plus, Sony, Colors, Zee, Sun, and many other channels will come back to TV shows in droves. And hopefully, so will advertising to the revenue-starved broadcasting sector. Hi, my name is Anil Vanwari. I'm the founder, CEO, and editor-in-chief of the IndianTelevision.com group, which runs IndianTelevision.com, India's #1 B2B site devoted to DTH, cable TV, OTT, advertising, marketing, and media professionals. Telechecker.com, which has close to 100 million unique visitors a year, clocking more than 1 billion views. That's India's leading TV fan destination. India's leading B2B music and radio destination, which is radioandmusic.com. And the world's second or third largest B2B destination for the animation, VFX, comics, and gaming industries, animationexpress.com. We also behind much appreciated initiatives such as the 20-year-old Indian Tele Awards, the 16-year-old Video and Broadband Summit, targeted at cable TV, DTH, broadcast, broadband, and digital video providers, the 5-year-old Content Hub targeted at film, TV, OTT, TV, and digital video producers and platforms, as well as writers, directors, and creators. Then there's Vid here as well, which is a large gathering of those involved in the OTT ecosystem, whether it's business creators or tech partners. Anyway, I guess all of you must be waiting to listen to what ends or the players of the TV distribution ecosystem have to say about life in the challenging COVID 2019 lane and now when state governments are opening up their different states. This webinar has been brought to you with the support of Metrocast. Thank you very much, Nagesh, who's on the panel today, for your support. And on the panel, we also have Amit Arora, the president of IndiaCast Media Distribution. Anil Malhotra. Hi, good to see you, Amit.
Hi,
Are you there?
thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Anil Malhotra, the Chief Executive Officer of City Networks.
Hi.
Hi, Anil.
Hi, thank you, Anil, for calling us.
Yeah, my pleasure. For protocol's sake, you all will call me Vanwari, and we'll call Anil Malhotra. Anil by his first name. Is that fair? So that there's no confusion between us? Okay. Gurjeet Singh, the president and head distribution and international business, Star and Disney India. G. Samba Sivan, sorry, the chief financial officer of Tata Sky. We call him Samba. It's easier. Good to see you, Samba, and good to see you, Gurjeet. Welcome, Gurjeet. And
thank you, Anil. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you, Vanwari. Yeah.
Thank you. Vanwari बोलो मुझे, Samba ने सही बोला, नहीं तो गुरजीत भी confuse हो जाएगा. सुन रहे हो?
Sure.
Gurjeet, मेरा नाम Vanwari है.
Yes, Vanwari.
Nagesh Narayan Das Chabria, the promoter of Metrocast Network Services. Good to have you, Nagesh ji.
Thank you, Vanwari.
Thank you. And Raman Kalra, an old friend of ours. He's the partner entertainment, media and sports advisory leader and CMO advisory leader, PwC India. Welcome, Raman.
Thanks, Vanwari. Pleasure to be here.
Suresh Sethia, the director of Indian Cable Net Company Limited from Kolkata. Welcome, Suresh.
Thanks, Vanwari, to be part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Vince Lay, the chief executive officer of Indecent Media and Communications, IMCL. Welcome, Vince Lay.
Thank you, Vanwari. Thanks for having us.
A big welcome to the audience also, which is part of the Zoom call, as well as those who are watching it on Facebook, YouTube, and on IndianTelevision.com. Thank you for taking your time out to be a part of this webinar from the IndianTelevision.com group. A few sanitization notes to speakers and others who are part of this webinar. I would urge you to put your mics on mute when you're not speaking, and when you are, to unmute them. Please bear in mind. Just use the mute unmute button whenever you can. And to the audience, also keep your phones off. My phone rang in the middle. I'm going to keep it off after this. And to the audience, if you have any questions, you can post them in the question answer box provided with the Zoom webinar. There's a panel at the side where you can post your questions. Or you can go to our Facebook page and post them so that we can put them out to the speakers. On with our webinar then. So I'll begin with the broadcasters. What's kept you guys busy over the past quarter? Gurjeet, you want to start? Followed by Amit?
Sure, Anil. Thanks, Anil. Anil, as you all...
Vanwari, sir. Confuse it.
I'll just say Anil Vanwari.
Okay, good. Thanks. That's good.
Anil Vanwari, as I think you mentioned that we are all going through unprecedented times, and especially we don't know how and when this lockdown or this pandemic, which is a global challenge, will get over. All we are looking at is getting a vaccine or the magic pill, and when we'll get it, I think it's a question we all would love to get an answer for. I think the best of brains in the world are working on it. Hopefully, we should get it quickly. And till the time we get it, it is good to keep ourselves, family members, people from cable fraternity, my friends from the DTH world, and their families should be healthy and safe. So I pray and hope that happens, and we get this magic pill quickly. But to your question, what kept us busy in this time frame? Unless, as you remember, on 22nd of March, India announced a lockdown, and we had started working from home on 16th of March. So I think we were prepared for a lockdown much earlier. Good thing is that we started working from home, made sure the entire business moved very, very smoothly. When we were working from home, the entire business started operating, and there was hardly any hiccup. Whether it was programming, whether it was our distribution team going and making calls to our operators, business was very, very smooth. But really want to call out a special thanks to all the cable operators and the DTH operators for the effort they have all taken to provide this uninterrupted service. I think it's a magnificent job. And right, you said, if this wouldn't have happened, how the numbers probably which are there right now probably would have doubled. So the numbers of COVID patients would have doubled because we wouldn't have anything to do at home. So I think we kind of entertain people, and also the number of numbers spoke about the number of people watching television really went up during the COVID time. I'm just putting a number. A lot of people said that the content was not fresh, but let me just call out, during the lockdown period, we had close to 1.2 trillion minutes a week, which was the number during the month of April and May. And prior to that, in January and February, I think 0.9 trillion minutes was during January and Feb. Basically, the average time individual was spending pre-lockdown was closer to a 20 hour, and I'm saying after lockdown, the number of hours was 27. So basically, television became a good mode of entertaining. So I think very clearly, as broadcasters, first thing what we did was we made a couple of channels available virtually for free, so that it helps a few of the customers who are not in a position to pay up, and they could be serviced these channels. So we along with the other broadcasters made few channels virtually free for the customers, and also immediately came out with the understanding that the cable operators would find it very, very difficult to get their collections in. So we went for a digital recharge campaign, which was really appreciated by DPOs and LCOs. And we pushed it aggressively on all our channels, which really, I'm sure, helped the cable operators and the DTH players. Also, while, as you mentioned, there was less fresh content being made after the month of March, we immediately moved to Mythos, which did the trick for us, and I think entertained the public at large. I think as a broadcasting fraternity, we understood that this is a tough time for the entire ecosystem, and we need to support our cable operators and friends. And we saw the merit in going for the digital recharge campaign. And to my mind, it really served them, it served us. So that really kept us at Star very, very busy, and which we thought was a good initiative which we took.
Great. Amit, over to you, then we'll move on to the rest. Amit, could you unmute yourself?
Sorry. So I'll start by echoing what Gurjeev just said. I think by and large, during the past three and a half months, I think the center stage really belongs to the platforms. I think it's a phenomenal job that all the platforms have done by keeping the viewers busy. They are real guys who've kept uninterrupted supply of entertainment going on. So they're really at the point of cynosure, to my mind. To answer your question, what's really kept us busy since 24th of March? I think every week has been a challenge as well as a learning. I mean, when we sat down in last week of March, the most critical point for us at IndiaCast were we had a year-end closing, and collections do become important. And we were sitting in a kind of a black swan, even where we've not learned how to make over 99% of the collections online. But that's one challenge that were posed in front of us, and that's one learning that we all surpassed. With every week that has gone by, I think we are dwelling with the new reality that it's like a sitting in a virtual world and learning to conduct business. So while we made channels free for 2 months, we did run tickers and scrolls and advertising for subscribers to pay digitally. Those were the fewer challenges which occurred in April. And as time goes by, we're starting to see the impact of the pandemic. I mean, the whole set of subscribers that came in the month of March have started trickling away in April. So I think now what we're more preoccupied is really that how do we take this entire journey forward? I mean, businesses have to grow, revenues have to go up, not for us, but for the entire value chain. The customer is going to be very stingy. This time he's discovered new content on OTT. So he's really going to loosen the purse to hand over money to the traditional platforms and broadcasters. All these challenges will come as the time goes by. And I think it's more and more of partnering between the platforms and the broadcasters that's going to see us through with this entire time of crisis and the bigger challenges that pose ahead of us.
Great. So in terms of both of you, before I move on to the platforms, collections are down by about 40%, or are they up? Both Gurjeev and Amit?
Not really. I don't think so that collections are down by 40%. See, I mean, one has to also, superimpose the cycle for broadcasters, how the first quarter of every fiscal looks like. I don't think so there was an impact in the month of March. And I guess Gurjeev would agree with me. Yes, there's been some degree of impact, but nowhere it's down to 40% or 45%. Another thing is that we've also been adhering to the circulars given by MIB that we've kept uninterrupted supplies going, extension of credit circles. I think all this has helped. Even the advertisements and scrolls and tickers that we ran for subscribers, I think digitally the subscribers are far more aware and they're in need of entertainment, so they've paid more. So nowhere, I think Gurjeev can add on. I don't think so. Any of the collections are down by 40%.
Okay, Gurjeev, what about your perspective?
So Anil, in terms of, I can talk about in terms of subscriber base, which is the I think reports what we get from the operators. We've seen close to 4.5 to 5 million subscribers getting off from the DTH as well as the cable systems. So which is closer to a 5 or I would say 6% from the entire business. But I think this is primarily two folds, I would say. One is the commercial establishments, which we've seen are probably not working, or probably these restaurants, hotels, and other chains, which probably were servicing close to 2.5 million, customers, are seeing probably a pushback, or they have kind of yanked off the service from these platforms. And the other big, I think, issue which these platform operators can also substantiate is a big migrant movement which happened. So people move from cities to their, hometowns, which also led to this kind of, subscriber numbers plummeting. So to my mind, 4.5, 5 million was the loss, but I think we should be in a position to get back these numbers quickly. So there was a revenue loss, I agree, but it's not that something which we can't get them back quickly. The moment I think these lockdown open, and when these migrants reach home and start looking at getting these service, we should get these numbers back in our business. So while I understand 4.5 is not a small number, or a 5 number is not a small number, 5 million, but we should get them back.
That would be a loss of 10%, or was 40 too high in terms of revenue?
It's not even 10%.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Not even 10. Good. Now that we've laid that. So let's get down to...
no, in terms of revenue, yes. In terms of revenue, I'm just talking about these subscriber numbers. But a lot of people also, reduce the package, then they move from a higher package to a lower package. All these things happen. So I just talked about the total subscriber base which got affected.
So, but overall revenue reduction has been how much? What would you put it at? So Uday said very clearly, I've lost 80% of my advertising revenue. So he was pretty transparent when he came and spoke in the open, because we didn't have the...
I've just given you a subscriber number. I'm sure you can add them.
Okay, great. Thank you. So now moving on to the platforms, what has kept you all guys busy? Beginning with, let's begin with Anil Saab, since you're coming first up on my screen.
Thanks, Anil. Mr. Anil Vanwari. And
मुझे वनवारी बोलो सर, हम सब senior लोग हैं इधर.
I would want to use this platform, first of all, to thank all our operators, their employees, our own employees, business partners, and everyone who has supported us during this pandemic. Unfortunately, we hear of Corona warriors as doctors, but these people have also done a human service to the nation by keeping people at home, going to each home to collect revenue, service them, provide service even if revenue was not there coming to them every month, which they used to do earlier. Imagine in a period like this, when government is saying stay at home, they are asked to come to streets, and provide service. On top of that, in our East, our friend Mr. Suresh Setia is also there. They had to face a double whammy that not only the entire network was down, but the whole infrastructure went down for some 10-15 days. And we were expected to repair and rework our entire systems. So the challenge basically, I would say this was a roller coaster ride for us. The day it started, we were in a panic mode. Okay, sanitization, stay at home. People were told to keep social distancing. Those who were coming to head end or in essential services were asked to stay there only. How long they can stay in a particular space? 1 week, 2 week, 3 week. They have to go home and come back. The first thing which used to come to our mind was that what do we do? Every morning, the first thing we used to address was our HR head was telling us these many people are turning positive or have been asked to take a test. And unfortunately, in some areas, we faced that also, that your critical operations were under threat. But I would say that these people have kept it on, while some of us have operated from homes. Those who were supposed to go on field and repair the network, particularly our operators, I can't thank them enough that what they have done during this period. See, businesses will come back. If you don't have content today, tomorrow you will have content, you have production. But if life goes out, it won't come back. So under these circumstances, I would say that this would not have been possible without the help of all these people, particularly our operators and their employees, and also our employees who were there on the field and ground supporting the network. We have seen many things in this period. Initially, when people started sitting at home, we had seen migration of subscribers switching off their second and third TV. So those numbers came back. Suddenly, we saw a jump in number of subscribers. Then this migration hit. People started going back. So like I said, it was every day was a challenge and a roller coaster, right? Definitely.
Great. So Samba, you're next in my screen. What kept you all guys busy? I saw so many announcements from Tata Sky in this COVID period, launching a cheaper HD set-top box, you launching better UI. You know, you're overactive, hyperactive in servicing customers.
Yeah. So I echo what Gurjeev and Anil, Amit mentioned. So all these points are relevant for us also. So the one thing what we were doing is that, first of all, we were very clear that in March, we said that the customer service is the most important thing. Let us work everything around the customer. So therefore, what we did was somewhere early April, early March, beginning of, I think the first week of March itself, we thought that the situation could worsen. And we said that, okay, first of all our technology team members, we should have a plan, contingency plan, just in case there is a lockdown. So we had to arrange for the people working full-time, sitting in the office. The team cannot get out of the premises in Chhatarpur or where we have the uplink and downlink center. So first thing is that we'll have to make sure that the channels are actually broadcast properly. And if there is any problem, technical issues arising at any time of the day or night, there have to be some people who will be working on. So that is the first thing which we did. Similar thing was done for managing the IT infrastructure as well. So these two, we knew that is going to have a very heavy kind of, and we are also anticipating a big uptick in terms of online recharge. So we were normally around 50% odd. It suddenly jumped up to 80%. So which meant that 80% of the customers are coming through online recharging. That puts an extra load on the system as well. So that is something which we said we have to prepare for. These are the two things which we did initially just before the lockdown. And everything what we said was whatever the customer needs to look at, we were focusing all our actions towards making sure that the customer watches the channels and without any interruption. And if there is any problem, how we can address the problem. So that was the whole motto. Even though people were working from home, we said that we will see that the customer complaints are minimized. And even for call center, the first 2 weeks were pretty tough. Our abandoned call rates, which was usually a very small 1 or 2%, it shot up because of the lockdown situation. It shot up to even 60-70% of the calls were getting abandoned. So then we had to, the next 2 weeks, we had to arrange for alternative mechanisms in terms of working from home, make sure that the laptops are given to these call center agencies and they can work from home, the kind of apps facilities. So that was a big kind of work. The first 2 weeks of lockdown was there. So we brought it down from 70 to say 20 or 15% over a period of the next 2 or 3 weeks. Then it took another month or so, maybe 45 days to bring back to the older levels. But the first 15, 20 days, yes, it was quite disruptive from the customer's standpoint, because there was nobody to pick up the calls of the customer, right? It was very difficult because nobody was going to the office. Overnight, people were stopped from going to the office. So that is what I recall. And now what we are doing is that seeing how we can make this as a regular practice. How can work from home become a regular practice is something which we are working on. So that at least on a regular basis, we are saying 50% of the staff should be kind of coming to the office, not the same 50%. So that the seat occupancy, we are not looking at beyond 50%, even on a ongoing basis post the lockdown is getting lifted. So these are the 2-3 things which we did. So the message is that we were trying to focus on the customer and see how his or her needs could be met without any pain. Yeah.
So you also activated a lot of inactive customers initially. And then after that, you about 15 lakh of them went out of the system later.
Yeah. No, we did not inactivate. The customers activated themselves.
That's right. The customers activated. Okay.
So there's a difference, right? Okay. Yeah. So we got a good set of customers coming back. But yes, again, we had this migration problem, this MSME problem, this hotels problem. All these things are there. So there is a drop in revenue for sure. But it is not as high as say 30-40%. There is a small drop in revenue which we are seeing in Q1 because of these customers going away to their to their hometowns. So DAS 1, DAS 2 is definitely impacted because of the migration issue. And many of the hotel businesses are closed down. So therefore, those customers are all yet to come back. But we hope that they will come back once the business revives. So there is a drop in revenue and the customer base because of these issues.
Yeah, and I'll come to you. You were actually servicing Kolkata also. What percentage of your user base is in Kolkata? Is in West Bengal?
Small,
and how did you all manage?
Kolkata alone is a very small single digit.
But West Bengal?
West Bengal, yes, it will be reasonable, but it still will be a small percentage only. Even West Bengal as a state will be a smaller percentage. So yes, Calcutta we had to do. There was a spurt in terms of number of calls. We had to do a lot of field repairs. So we had to give some extra benefits to the customer. We had to put an emergency war room kind of a situation as to how to address them. A lot of resources were pulled from the field service from the other areas. So which is a regular thing which we do. Any kind of crisis, we have a template for crisis management, and this was one such crisis. So we tried to recover as much as possible. Yes, there was some disruption for 2-3 days. I remember there were a lot of customers who were based in Bengal. Some of the relatives of mine who were there, some of my friends, they were trying to get the activations done because their television was not working. So yes, we had a couple of weeks problem, but after 2 weeks, I think it came back to relative normalcy. 3 weeks maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go on to another gentleman who was actually in the middle of it all in Kolkata, Suresh Setia, who runs one of city's strongest networks in that state in West Bengal. So tell us about your experiences. I'll come to the rest. Nageshi, I'll come to you, and to Vince also later.
First, I would like to echo what Anil Malhotra was talking about, the ground realities, the operators functioning in the ground, and everybody jumping on it. And of course, our team. In Calcutta, we had to face one more epidemic, that was Amphan, which was, I think, impacted us much more than what actually COVID could do. Fortunately for COVID, we could prepare about a week back. We had stopped most of our people coming to office even before 21st. We had planned that 70 people will be staying in our office day and night for 15 days. Then the batch will change. Another batch will come, and that's exactly what we had been doing for last 2.5 months, and still it is continuing. So that as less people travel out. So those who are staying, they eat here, they stay here, and everything is taken care in the office itself. They don't go back home, at least for 15 days. Some people have not gone back home even for two months. There are people who have stayed in our office for 2 months. So that's something which is a learning to us. That's something which we never thought could be done. As far as East is concerned, the impact that I was talking about, that Amphan has done, that it shattered the whole network. In East, our most of our networks is on either the light posts or overheads, and the impact was so big that more than 15,000 trees are broken, at least 10,000 street posts are broken. So most of our cables got damaged. And while the corporation was trying to remove trees and posts, they had further impacted us. So that was one big damage. There are a lot of learnings that we have taken during the COVID period. When uh, the first day of lockdown was announced, suddenly we saw a big number jumping up. A lot of people activating our boxes, and I don't think for first few days we did any marketing for doing that. And suddenly there were few thousand numbers which grew. Uh, there were no fresh programming. There was nothing that would lure them to come to the network, but people jumped into. Which means if people are staying at home, they tend to watch television, and maybe if uh, this is the way the norm is going to be, that work from home, then television is going to play a major role in future. Is it what I believe? You definitely have the OTT platforms, but uh, wherever the OTT platforms are also there they need a lot of bandwidth, and most of the bandwidth are provided in East by the cable operators, the providers, and hence I see a big boost of cable television in this. I think the role of the broadcasters, the role of the MSOs and the cable operators is going to be very, very important, crucial in days to come to make this business a real booming one. For we have gone through difficult times. We are literally coming out of the difficult times. That's what I believe. I don't see it a very long period of wait. I see another few days, and things should come back to normalcy in our industry. I don't talk about our lifestyles, but I'm talking about our industry. It should come back to normalcy, and if we can plan our business properly, I see a huge boost that is going to be seen in this industry.
Great. So I'll move on to Nageshji, one of the most independent of the operators, the large MSO that he runs. So what has kept you busy?
Manwari, whatever Malhotra said, Anil Malhotra, I would add one more thing to it. Apart from thanking the staff, the people, we had to keep them motivated, and we had to remove the fear out of them to go and give services. Since I operate most of my cities are from Maharashtra, and the numbers are very high there. So it was a big challenge for my staff to go and collect. And since I'm also a primary point-based MSO, I am myself a last mile operator in most of my areas. So motivating them and getting things done, first initially 10 to 15 days, that was a big challenge. So we just got insurance done for all of my staff, so that little bit of fear goes from them. Also, especially the main problems were moment some area was becoming a containment zone. Getting collections, giving service to them was a big challenge. Through your platform, also I'd like to thank government for making cable TV service an essential commodity or essential service. And that was a big relief for us, for a full team to travel in different cities to give services to each and everyone wherever it was possible. I also have a small base in Dharavi, where we are left with hardly 20% connections now. So Dharavi was burning as good as. Neither we could go and give services there, and whatever we had kept all the customers on mode, whether they pay or no. But after 2 months, we were left with only 20% of the base there in Dharavi. But Bombay, living Bombay, we have in Solapur, Kolhapur, Sangli. It is a tough time to manage the ground. And keeping the team motivating for a longer time also is a challenge. I think, but as Suresh also said, numbers have gone up initially. Commercial way, we have lost points wherever hotels were there, commercials, houses, offices, wherever they were taking cable TV. That was a challenge. So today we want to survive in the market. We want to give the best service to our customers. That's what we are doing. We're trying to give the best service. We're trying to motivate our customers. And we know that this will last for some more time. It is a long race. It's still, maybe we are at a half time or an interval, we don't know, or it's the beginning. So we have to keep our team motivated for a longer journey with these conditions around. Anwar.
Yeah, so Nageshji, have you moved a lot onto prepayments and online payments?
Yeah.
As a network?
This time was an advantage because big of my base is rural. And this was the advantage which we took, and we tried to make an online payments possible. But wherever rural was deep, there it was difficult to get the payments. But all our district headquarters and all, around 70% has become online payments. Operators are doing online payments. Customer still is a challenge.
Yeah, but the digitization initiative by the government in phone pay and all the other things, haven't they transpired to the lower areas, low income areas as yet?
I think it has, or I'm saying it has gone up to 70%.
Okay.
2 years back, it might not been even 10 to 15%. So 70% also is a big number for a cable TV industry, I feel.
Fantastic, great. Thank you for sharing that. Now on to Winsley. Not the last, not the least, but the last is Raman after that, but now on to Winsley. So Winsley, what's kept you busy?
So Anil, 2 months, I think under 2 months ago, I had a wonderful fireside chat with you on what was going on with us in the industry. And if you recall, I mentioned there that the one reason I think that BPOs like us were able to stay alive and to keep our noses above water was very much thanks to the local cable operators who have taken on this, on literally as a battle, and a battle not just to come out in terms of survival, but to actually grow from here. So very interestingly, a couple of quick points. We had the benefit, one benefit that probably I'm not too sure anyone else had, is that we were doing a big satellite migration for our hit service in the month of January. So as part of that satellite migration, we put in place a very detailed business continuity plan, right? With three layers on what to do in case of a crisis, who does what, everything. None of us expected that less than 2 months later, we would actually be implementing that business continuity plan. Okay, we never dreamt, because the business continuity plan spoke about, emergency, police passes, people living in the office, all of that, multiple levels. And good enough, 2 months later, we had to implement it. So we were actually kind of, to some extent, caught on the right foot. The second thing, again, very interesting, and like I say, probably it was more perchance, was that this year we had focused on converting, we had converted all our cable operators to digital. We were looking to work with our cable operators to collect money from their subscribers digitally. And that worked for us. So way back in January, we tied up with a company called EaseBuzz to help our cable operators collect money from their subscribers digitally. And the moment this pandemic hit, we actually heightened or accelerated that process for the cable operators to be able to use EaseBuzz or to use any other solution to collect money from their customers, either net banking, net banking, credit cards, debit cards, Google Pay, UPI. And today, barely 3.5 months into, it's a wrong term actually, a long time into the pandemic, over 88% of our local cable operators are now digitally collecting payments. You asked a question about the universe of subscribers, and I think that was a point that even Nagesh made. The great thing about the cable operators is that they have always worked on innovation, and they have gone out and got their customers to actually go digital. So all they do is send an SMS to the customer clicks on the SMS and makes payment. So we believe close to about 55 to 60% of the customer base conducts at least one transaction in terms of a renewal or a package or anything. So there's been hardly any time to sit and look back, because it's been a continuous race. First, in implementing the business continuity plan, which, like even Samba mentioned, we have a broadcast center up in Noida, so we had people living there. We had them working in cycles. We had our local cable operators who had to be provided all the support and were doing and are doing an incredible job. As I mentioned, thanks to them, we are where we are today. And our own employees have been able to really, come up smelling of roses in this one. And I'll give you a couple of examples of why I say that. So there are, HITS is a service which is also predominantly in semi-urban and rural India. And while we all talk about digital payments were easy for us in the cities like Mumbai and Delhi and all the other, tier 1, tier 2, even tier 3 cities. But in rural India, that's where we faced a challenge because one, connectivity on mobile was constrained. They didn't have too many smartphones. And third thing is that they also had issues in being able to actually access the service. So we worked with them pretty intelligently. And again, our last mile owners, our local cable operators came up with innovative things of literally appointing, everyone had to go to the store, was permitted to go to the store once a day, to the Kirana store, right? So they would drop their subscription money with the Kirana store merchant, right? And they would ensure that their subscription stayed alive. And the Kirana store merchant would just call up the local cable operator and say, listen, customer A, B, C, D, E, F, G has made the payment. This is the payment. Please go ahead and activate. And I think, innovation has really proven how to deal with the curve. We've also had fantastic support from the broadcasters in terms of the digital recharge campaign that they've launched. That has helped us also tremendously because we've been able to educate subscribers. See, we could push the cable operators can push the subscribers, but subscribers needed to be educated as well, that they could use that system. And that's where a lot of the broadcasters, Gurjeet mentioned it, a lot of the broadcasters had a fantastic digital recharge plan to help, educate subscribers that it was safe, because that was the first thing, that it was safe and it was easy to recharge your subscription simply by going digital. So I think we've had a lot of challenges, but the best part is because of the business continuity plan, which included local cable operators. And I must say, Anilji mentioned a point about we've heard cases about them. I also want to, in today's event that we're having this webinar, to also say a little prayer for the operators and their staff whom we've lost. Right, we have seen some of them who have passed away. It's a horrific.
Ansari is a case. Ansari is one of them.
Yeah, it's a horrific thing to even think about it. And let me be clear, they all passed away in the line of duty. It wasn't that they were sitting at home. They passed away doing the job that they love, the job that they that they took on. And while yes, everyone expects full precautions and everyone does take precautions, but unfortunately, some cases did happen and across the industry, and we're sure that we definitely stand in solidarity with them. So it's been a long road. There are a lot of learnings. I think from a perspective as an industry, where in a way, as they say, every cloud has a silver lining. The good thing about it is that we know contactless payments are now not just a possibility, are well implemented. So contactless business can be conducted by working from home. The wheels of the industry have been kept churning. Have we seen some churn? Of course, we've seen churn, but again, I think, and all the other panelists have literally pointed it out, so I don't want to regurgitate it, but critical things like hotels, migrants, right, and customers. One point that, again, Gurjeet did make, there are a lot of people who probably wanted to downgrade their packages, right? So they would keep original pack, or they would keep a full package in their sitting room, but their second TV set and third TV set, they probably look at downgrading it. So again, we've been able to kind of hold the ground and hold our business, hold it together. And I'm sure, Manbari, as things go along, it's been a learning for all of us. One thing that I think I'd like to say is that this, in whatever way, manner or form, has probably brought the industry together like never before, right? I mean, we've seen an amazing amount of support from not just the ecosystem, which is the broadcasters and the LCOs, but we've also seen a lot of support from our competitors, right? Our competition, our peers. Everyone's worked together in terms of being able to help each other in the industry wherever there have been challenges. So all in all, like I said, it's hopefully, there's a silver lining at the end of all of this.
Thank you, Winsley. That was really well said. Now, well put. Raman, you've been observing this industry for a long time, like we've been doing also. So what have you been advising your clients? What should they do during this period that has been going on?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Manwari. It doesn't come naturally to call you.
I know it doesn't. I know. But it's easier.
Yeah. So, thanks for that. And, good to be in middle of so many friends from the industry. One thing which, having heard all of you, one thing that when we keep talking to a lot of our, clients in the industry, is that there is one fundamental difference this time as compared to all the downturns and the challenges that industry faced in the history, previously. The consumer behavior, the speed at which it has accelerated to digital is not a joke. I think we have not seen this pace of digital acceleration in the industry. We work across industries. So for example, the kind of conversations happening in pharma industry, the kind of conversations happening in the wellness industry or in the automotive industry, you pick any industry. And I think the kind of things that we would have earlier thought will happen about 3 years down the line or 2 years down the line, the work has already commenced. So at a lot of those places, we as a firm, we are engaged, we are working with them. So it's a huge shift that has happened. That is one. And a second thing which has happened so dramatically different this time is the demand contraction. And so far we haven't really touched upon on the ad revenue side of business, but the demand contraction is going to stay at least, for irrespective of what kind of recovery we do as an economy, the demand will stay contracted for 12 to 18 months as a minimum, before it really starts coming back to some degree of recovery after that. So both these things put together has had different impacts on the industry. On one side, while everybody says that the viewing time has increased significantly because work from home, people are at home, they're watching television, they're watching OTT, but ad dollars have gone down because that demand is not there. All the brands, as a part of our CMO advisory, we work with a lot of brands, and every conversation is, if I was achieving 3 objectives by spending 100 rupees in the past, give me a ways and means to achieve the same objectives by spending maybe 70 rupees. So I think that cut is going to stay. And when you said, Uday made a statement that there'll be a significant drop in ad revenue, it's a given fact. Now, from the digital acceleration point of view, the consumer behavior, and Gurjeet, when you spoke about 5 million, roughly 5 plus minus million subscriber loss in the industry, I think I would tend to agree that a lot of that is because of migrant workforce. A lot of that is because of temporary employment going out of people, and there's that lack of income in the households. But a significant part of that could also be a factor of the shift to OTT. People have now the subscriptions to OTT have skyrocketed in last 3 months, and we all know that. People who were not subscribing earlier, they are now subscribed to it, and it's like tasting the blood once. Once I have crossed that line, I have become used to of watching content on OTT. Then there would be it would need that extra bit for the industry to bring them back. A lot of them can come back, but not by business as usual kind of a thing. So what we have been talking to a lot of people in the industry as a more holistic manner, I think the challenge this time is a little more significant than the past. I have been an avid observer and also a positive fan of the way distribution industry in India has grown over the last so many years. Though I always had a grudge that why we don't increase ARPUs, but with the NTOs, good and bad part of NTO, I'm not getting there right now, but it has led to increase in ARPUs. People have started paying more. They have also started cord cutting and cord shaving. So I think there is a significant impact. What I haven't yet seen, and some conversations have started happening, and Tata Sky always leads the way when it comes to connecting with the consumers. But at the same time, in talking among a bunch of friends over here, for example, I am a Tata Sky subscriber for last, I don't know how many years. A 3 TV set subscriber at home. I quietly disconnected my third TV, a few months back, and nobody has reached out to me from Tata Sky. So despite being the leader in the fray, and it's a positive, they're both, so somehow when I talk about it, take it as a pinch of salt, but I'm saying you are the leader in this space, but you have missed out connecting back with the high propensity paying consumer. So obviously industry need to do a lot more, and that's a true testing on the ground. So I think hats off, really kudos to the way the industry have sustained through this phase, kept people entertained. But I think when we as a segue to the next part of discussion, and Vanwari, which you would like to do as what next, I think as a logical segue to that would be that a lot of those audience having tasted blood now because of digital acceleration and subscribing to OTT, what will it really take to get them back? Besides just sitting back and saying that they were always our subscribers, they will come back. I think that's it. It would not be like that in my opinion. So there is.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. Most of the videos have started off on-the-go services. So that's something they've been doing. The broadcasters have ring-fenced protect themselves by launching their own OTTs. So while you only have 2 players or 3 players, Netflix and Amazon Prime Video, which are outside the ecosystem coming in. There's Flipkart, but the Flipkart's not really aggressively going on. So you've got 2 players, whereas the rest of them are within the same ecosystem. But are you suggesting the business model of television is broken?
I'm saying that much beaten down term that all of us used to talk for so long, to be a true triple play or a quad play player. I think perhaps, and a lot of you do that wonderfully, but I think now the time has come where we take it to the next stage where the connect with the consumer is far deeper. I think the first, we see a lot of, for example, the broadcasters largely work in a a B2B environment, if I put it like that. Besides the OTT and the direct consumer connect, the direct connect with the consumers is limited. The people who really own the consumers, let's say Nagesh, or Binsley, or Anil, and all of them, people who really own the consumer, and with your network of LMOs on the ground, till the time they invest in technologies and really get to know the consumer really better and deeper, then the challenge will continue. What you said, Vanwari. But that is also a silver lining. If we do that right, if we service our consumer really good going forward from here, they really don't have a reason to move out. So, but to tell you, besides the ring-fenced OTT or the 2 or 3 large OTTs, there is an acceleration of regional. We all know that regional is a growth frontier for the media industry. If you look at the Telugu market, let's say, right? AHA, AHA OTT, they're doing phenomenally well. A new kid on the block, just a few months on the having taken off, and they have taken off kind of reasonably well, despite being really a new kid, just born, I would say rather. So I think the growth areas there, the market dynamics will be very different, and that's where we need to really come together and think about. And I still continue to believe that I think the industry is such. We always also said in last 10 years, 15 years, that India will not see cord cutting, cord shaving, because it will be always an and market, not an or market, TV and digital coming together. But it was a good statement to make when, consumers are paying maybe 150 or 200 rupees for one TV. When consumers are paying, maybe 600 rupees, 700 rupees for a TV, and maybe, 1500, 2000 rupees for 2-3 TVs, cord cutting and cord shaving could become a phenomenon. A lot of you said that people have cut down from higher packages to lower packages. That's cord shaving. Now, it's not easy to get them back to higher package again. So that's where the efforts would really need to get into.
Interesting. So now it's over to the DPOs, boss. Who's going to take the lead? Samba? Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, this is on the cost area, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are looking at cost in a certain way because as we mentioned, this NTO2 implementation actually has had some impact, a big impact, even among the DPOs. We believe that we have been impacted the maximum. So there is obviously like what you mentioned, these multi-TV customers are now paying only 40% towards the NCF. Earlier it was 130 rupees net of taxes. Now it is only 52 rupees net of taxes. So second, third, fourth TV and all, the revenue which the company generates, all the DPOs generate is far lower. So therefore, and we seem to be having a very high share of the multi-TV market in general, because of the strategy which the company followed right from day one, because we were more urban centric for the first 10 years of our existence. So therefore, there is a real focus on cost now. So we have taken it in its stride, so to say. So this is even our business plan, now we have not yet been able to finalize the business plan because of this COVID situation. Typically, by end of March, we would have got the business plan for the year 1920 prepared and approved. But this time, we have asked for extension of time, and we keep on asking for extension of time for preparing the plan. So that's the situation now. So on cost, yes, there is a lot of scope, we believe, particularly on obvious elements in terms of travel is definitely a fraction of the travel of the previous year. So that is a big element of saving for the next year. Similarly, on even the call center related cost, we are talking to the partners, trying to see how we can change the business model. Can the partners, people also, can they work from home? Like I said earlier, that we are looking at 50% of our staff coming to the office. Can we also encourage the partners to work with the 50% staff going to the office? That would mean that there is a lot of overheads which the partners could save, and share some of those savings with us. And there are many such areas. Even the real estate, we are talking to various our landlords in terms of trying to give up some real estate. So cost is a little bit of a higher focus this year compared to any other year. The other topic which I don't think we mentioned earlier is that we are also hit in a big way by this carriage revenues and also the ad revenues, so to say. So that is something I don't know whether all of us talked about, because we are seeing a lot of tail end channels kind of getting out of market, at least in the current scenario. So there is a little bit of problem in terms of collections from those channels, so to say. And we can't expect the similar kind of revenue as to what it was not a big number, but still it is a reasonably meaningful number for us. So that is something which is completely getting wiped out. Like the ad revenue is a big hit for the broadcasters. For us, the carriage revenue and the whatever little bit of ad revenue what we were getting has been nearly wiped out, so to say. So with that, I will stop. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I've got questions. I'll continue with the discussion, but I've got questions now to the panelists. Who wants to take it up? This is from Alexander Zeka. He's based in Singapore. Given the challenges of the industry to ad-funded programming and to low take-up of international English language content, what advice can the panelists for monetizing new content in these markets in India? Who wants to take this up? Gurji, do you want to take it up, or Samba, Amit, Anil, anybody take it up, or Raman?
Gurji,
unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself, please. Unmute karo.
Sorry, Anil, Anil,
yeah.
Can you just repeat the question? You would just,
yeah.
not cover it.
Given the challenges, this is from Alexander. Okay, Alexander Zeka from Singapore. Right. So given the challenges to the industry to ad-funded programming and to the low uptake of international English language content, what advice can the panelists offer for monetizing new content in these markets, in India, that is?
So
yeah.
Anil and Alex, we've seen that, especially in India, the premium content, we thought probably one can sell it as premium. There is nothing which got sold as premium. So premium, when I talk about a price point of DPO, anything more than 400 plus, there's hardly any number to talk about. We're talking about 5% is, I would say, the number of percentage, which is, picking up a price point of 400 and above. So if we want to kind of upsell in this market, barring DTH, I think cable has not been in a position to do upselling. So while it presents a good opportunity to kind of, go and upsell for content which is there and ask for money from the consumers. But in the first year, it hasn't come out very clearly as to what got missed out, especially in our business. Maybe people are busy in getting the, biggest of channels plugged in. But in the first year of operations, this didn't get paid out. So a lot of channels, and channels like AXN, you've seen what happened to them. So there was a pressure. They were not able to make money from the ad sales, and also subscription revenue plummeted. So they had taken a call to kind of walk away from this market. And I think Samba also talked about few channels where they were niche channels. They were not able to kind of survive in this kind of environment. I think this would get played out. So we need to be mindful if channels don't have a good subscription revenue coming their way, and also if the model was also depending on ad sales, which is absolutely either zilch or very, very limited now. People are taking these conscious calls, and whether they want to play in this market for long, or they want to just kind of pack their bags and get out. So
but they're not really packing their bags off. What they're doing is just selling their content. For instance, Sony internationally, under the news head of the network, said that we will not run linear channels. And they gave that off to their former head of Sony Pictures Networks. He's running those AX and all in the rest of Asia. But in India, it was left with Sony, and they took a choice not to run it.
That's fine.
Because, yeah. So you know.
The point I was making was, instead of running a channel, they are syndicating the channel now.
They're syndicating content, basically. You can make money, but.
Yeah, that's right.
So let me just add to what Gurjeev said. I think Alex, what the answer Alex is looking at, Alex, for content, typically, I think the opportunities will lie in the coming times more with syndication, more with co-branded services in India, more against syndication, even if it is OTT platforms for that matter. If that answers your question.
Yeah. What about VAS, Samba? What about VAS?
Sorry, Anil. Also, if you look at the percentage which is sitting on, especially the premium content, whether it's movies, whether it's the English GEC content, the audience is very limited now. It's less than, I would say, 10% out there. So it's becoming a really, really challenge for the channels which are not seeing a higher penetration. How does one make sure that these channels survive in the long run? So I think we are working and collaborating with partners and looking at upselling and making sure that there is a business in play. While I think DTH has done a fantastic job, but I think cable is some area where we would like to work and collaborate with our partners there.
Yeah, so Starboard is something which has been announced will not continue going forward. Or at least there's some talk of it not continuing. Again, a niche.
Vanwari, I will add on with what Guji was saying. Guji, the thing is that every time cable has been projected as it is a product which is going to be cheap, and in NTO regime, every time it has been talked that the prices will come down. Nowhere any broadcasters have tried to do anything to make the customer understand what is the price they are paying. If they are going to pay 400, 500 rupees, they are going to pay 10, 15 rupees a day. I think we need to promote this. The moment a customer starts paying 500, 600 rupees, I don't see it as a big money. It is just 15, 20 rupees a day. I think people spend 15, 20 rupees on a different note on a daily basis in number of items which are not required. And this is something the whole family needs. Somehow, somewhere the broadcasters, like you have promoted the digital payment, you need to promote this, that if this could be done and a consumer, then every content will sell. Why only Hindi or English? Even English niche contents will also sell. We need to think on it, and I probably think there will be an answer to it.
Absolutely, Suresh, I completely echo the sentiments and point you're making, but I guess we have to collaborate with the DPO there, because we don't know what price point you would put these channels. So I need to understand in the entire ecosystem we are operating in, and what price point you will be able to sell. We can work.
I totally agree with you. The only thing is, when a DPO is going and talking to the consumer, he does not have that face value. The consumer thinks that what he is going to pay is going to the pocket of the cable operator.
Understood.
And then that's the reason he doesn't want to pay. But the moment he understands this is going to the value chain, a consumer will understand that. Every time he thinks that cable operator has suddenly grown in his areas, this guy was never even able to run a cycle, is going in a motorcycle. The consumers is behaving, thinking every money is going to the cable operator, which is not the case. But the moment we say that the money is flowing in the value chain, and you will get a good content, the moment you start paying this amount, I think the consumers understand, and the consumer understands the broadcaster's version much better than any MSO, DTH player, or for that matter, cable operator.
Yeah. Gurjeev, I think the point Suresh is getting at is that like the digital recharge campaign that you, Amit, and everyone had, that really helped us to a great extent, because it's very different from a cable operator saying it to the customer as against India Cast, Colors, and Star saying it to the customer. So that helped us tremendously. So I think that's what Suresh is getting at. Correct, Suresh? That help gives us, I think it gives us the legitimacy, to use a
yeah. So there's a point. There's a point that Rajiv is making. Rajiv Gambhir. He's saying product value needs to be communicated by the product owner, not the sales channel. Saying you're the sales channel.
Yes.
And Anil's the sales channel. So therefore, Gurjeet, that's a point. Amit and you need to take note. Possibly to have sustainability.
Taken care of in the NTO. I think we have moved to MRP regime rather than staying back on the wholesale regime any longer. But Winsley, happy to do this. I just want to make table one point, and I mean no arguments or debate around it. I think what Suresh is saying, I mean, your customers can pay more, and that value needs to be communicated. I think I can speak on behalf of Gurjeev any day. More than happy to do it, but unfortunately, everybody keeps looking for this holy grail in India that the customer has always wanted to pay less. And I'm not picking up any argument on this, but I think including the government believes in this holy grail that the consumer has to pay less. I mean, for good content, if people don't pay more, sports, a good cutting edge non-fiction content, I mean, how would broadcasters produce this content at the end of the day?
True.
Amit,
but your point is taken, including Suresh's, that more the communication around the fact that that please pay more and get more quality entertainment. That point is completely taken.
No, and Amit, let me add.
Amit, we need to understand one thing, that phase 3 and 4 customers are the customers who have a difficulty in paying. And that is the customers probably TRAI or government are talking about. But there is still a section of the customers which are not in phase 3 and 4, which can pay. In phase 3 and 4, the broadcasters can have a different approach. And in other phases, in phase 1 and 2, you can have a different approach. As of now, we are having a single approach. The prices are the same, the content is the same, everything is same. We can have a different approach for phase 3 and 4 and a phase 1 and 2. And I think that can work.
See, I'll put a couple of points.
I'll also like to add on here where Raman left. Raman said that the DPOs have to do something different to be in the business. I totally agree with you, Raman. And that is the reason we have been working for last few months or more than a year regarding the Android box, where we can have the OTT platform on our platform. We can have our own apps. We have been talking to the broadcasters, and we are sure that they will come out with. We have been talking like if somebody is having a particular channel, he can watch that same channel on his move on his mobile, and the broadcasters don't tend to lose anything.
I'll add a couple of points here. I think what you said is bang on. Suresh, I'll come to it to the previous question and this one. See, one point we miss out a lot of times. A few channels went off air, right, because of this whole struggle that happened in the industry. But it is not in contradiction to what Gurjeev said. I agree with you. I agree and disagree. All the channels that went off, there is still significant demand for that content. It is not that that content is. It is not that they are not buyers for that kind of content in the market. Now that content is not getting
I think he's gone off air.
I think he's gone off air, I think.
I know he's gone
Raman,
off. He'll come back
Raman,
possibly.
come
Yeah,
back,
Raman, please log on back again. See, my point is that I don't think these niche channels are innovated enough. I think they're all running after catalog, and they're showcasing catalog. Z went and acquired Sony's foreign, to be released catalog. Sony decided not to pay the high numbers that were being paid by the other network. So, but there's not much innovation happening in the English entertainment space as compared to the innovation in OTT. In Netflix and Amazon Prime are innovating constantly in terms of content, programming, and the delivery to the customer.
Point to Gurjeev and Amit, Manwari.
Yeah, please.
What I feel, the packaging which broadcasters are continuing with sports on behind our mind for next 3 to 6 months, I think they should rethink on packaging for the LCOs and for the customers what they have designed. For the coming 3 to 4 months, so whatever packages are existing, all are based on the sports contents. So this matches was coming, IPL was coming, and I think they have to redesign it for the next 3 to 6 months.
See,
Sony has just taken out the 31 rupees and it is with sports only now.
Nothing is there on sports. There is no live content.
I think we'll have to see the whole thing in a different perspective, what we are looking at it from the angle we are looking at now. First of all, DPOs are no longer consumer of content. Content is directly in the hands of consumer.
Correct.
So we have service providers. There is an OTT service going on. It is going on broadband. So I am a broadband service provider, which most of the DPOs have started doing, at least in cable.
Yeah.
Today we have opened our API to TRAI on their app. So even if I want to push a content, I can't, because then customer can choose and try can decide which content he will choose. As far as content is concerned, still date, broadcasters have not come out with a premium content on cable where the price is in forbearance. They have kept all their content under the ceiling, whether it is 19, 12, whatever ceiling comes. So all the contents remain there. I think time has come where the right content at the right price needs to be marketed for. And as far as DPOs are concerned, they would be happy to participate in any such exercise. You see, today, it doesn't bother me if the content is priced at 1 rupee or 100 rupees. And please don't forget, this is the country where you have 30 million free dish boxes. So you have to be price conscious as well. The model on which this industry has survived is that bouquet sale and super bouquet by the DPOs may not work in the longer run. So we will have to rethink our strategies again and see how this business will survive. Today, what DPOs are making is basically part of NCF they are saving. Whatever money margins they get from broadcasting is given back to consumers in discounts. So any strategic planning has to come from the content side, because DPOs do not have that kind of strategic mind or expertise to market content to the consumer directly. It has to be taken care by the broadcasters only. DPOs can only play as a conduit, whether it's OTT or whether it is cable or linear.
So can I rebut in this, Anil?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Anil, I completely agree with what you are saying, but and I mentioned it earlier, when broadcasters are pushing the needle, especially with the DPOs, on HD content, which is there. Now, we have in India close to 40 million homes which have got HD television sets. And probably there are 30 million, even the set-top boxes, which I think all the DPOs have planted. But what is the number we're getting from HD business rate? Not more than 12, 13 million. So why can't we have a focus on HD? I think Raman made a point as to if we have to kind of take these battles with OTT platforms, we need to fortify our own house first. So I think somewhere down the line, we have also seen that the HD consumer, and I'm sure Samba will give you reasons to that as to how an HD consumer is more loyal and he sticks for longer time. I think we have kind of missed the HD business in cable, where we should be pushing HD content. We should be pushing the agenda for premium content there, upselling, the content. We've not been doing that. Here you are coming and telling me that I should make a product or content which should be premium or probably charging 25 rupees. I make content which is for 19 or 20, 15 rupees, and I go and upsell. You guys are not in a position to go and upsell right now. Here we're talking about premium content. And to my mind, we need to kind of take first baby steps, get some, achievements or winners under our belt first, and then look at, asking for a premium content closer to 100 rupees here. We're not in a position to sell right now something which is premium, which I call it 15 to 20 rupees. Upselling is not happening. And here we're talking about 100 rupees content getting upsold. We probably might be able to sell it to not more than 5,000 homes, I'm sure. But that's a number.
Gurjeev, you're right. So what I'm saying is, as far as devices are concerned, now all DPOs import only HD boxes or deploy only HD boxes. Nobody is deploying HD boxes.
Correct.
But
Correct.
the content to be marketed on them, I'm saying that expertise lies with the broadcaster only. That is not available with DPO, except Tata Sky may have done that in the initial years. HD content, if consumer has to uptake, certain information has to be parted to him by the broadcaster that this content is available on this network.
Gurjeev, I like to add. Gurjeev, I like to add on here. The thing is, initial period, the quality of our transmission in SD was not that good. These days, the SD transmission is so good that people are not looking for an HD content because there is no difference in the content. There is only a technology change, and the HD content these days are very qualitatively very good. So earlier the difference was there, but these days quality difference has come down. Now, even if a guy is having a HD television, his SD content is equally good. Those who have a habit of only watching SD, they are the only clients watching SD. Now, when he is finding a channel, the SD channels are kept together. There are not all channels which are SD. So he has to jump to SD once. He has to go back to SD again. He has to jump to SD once more. That is also a problem. If we had all SD and SD channels, if I was giving him a standard definition, and or if he had opted for an SD, he would have got a standard definition along with it free because it was the same content. In that case, your SD would have sold. Now he has got maximum channels in HD. He has got some channels in HD. That is also killing his way of looking at things. The moment we give is a package where SD, if you opt for, we'll give you SD free. I can tell you your SD content will pick up.
I would like to add to it one more point. I think the HD packaging is not friendly enough for the MSOs and NCOs.
Just a point. I was thrown out some poor home connection today. Sorry for that. And it links with what, Anil, you were saying, and Suresh, which you just said, and Gurjeev. See, we were talking of content of HD, or, abhi to HD ki baat kar rahe hain, let's say going forward, maybe a 4K content or high quality content. That content comes, and it is not just about the format of content, the production quality of the content, the shoot, the storyline, everything. Basically, the quality of content has to be rich and high. That content comes at a price. There is a price, there is a cost to produce that content, which now even further will increase thanks to COVID and, other things that happen. So, which means that, on one side, if we talk about not being, not doing enough to service the consumers in such a way that we increase the ARPUs and consumers happily pay more, and therefore the value of the entire pie increases and broadcasters get the higher money back, that rich content will not be made for this ecosystem. The ecosystem of TV and distribution, it is today competing against OTT. The quality of content on OTT is super rich and super high. If that quality of content has to flow to TV distribution, it has to be somewhere offset by some kind of payments and revenue streams coming in. And I think that is the crux of it. And if we don't address that, then again eventually we will keep losing out, because people want to, the old saying that content is king will always prevail.
Yeah, Raman, I'm just going to come in here a bit. So, look at what's happening with the OTTs are themselves producing. Let's look at a Netflix is producing international content, international films, and premiering them also. And they're equal to quality to what the big studios are producing. So the kind of catalog which is left, so my need as an international film watcher gets sated with what the OTT is offering. Maybe I needn't use television to watch a Hollywood movie, and I have that much time. So and as I keep saying, that the quality of niche programming has to go up for it to get the premium prices that is needed. And budgets are being cut even in GECs today as we go along because of the situation that is there. So the people have to invest more, but the investments are going down currently for even GEC programming today. That's something the cable trade needs to understand. It's a catch-22 situation.
It is.
And also then to say that, jisne content banaya hai, it is his responsibility to market that. I think somewhere it defeats the ecosystem coming together. I think till the time the content creators, the broadcasters, the the DPOs and the LCOs really come together and have a joint marketing agenda also, and increase the pie of the total business, this has been a problem for the last 20 years. You know it better.
What's going on?
So Ashish Ferwani has made a comment on this.
Yeah.
Must we continue to demarcate TV and OTT? Can we not combine that into a single video economy?
Very, very, very valid, and that's how it is going. It is happening already. That's the from a consumer standpoint. If I'm a consumer, I care a damn. I want to watch a content which I want to watch. I don't even care whether it is coming from my Tata Sky connection or one of the 5 OTT subscriptions I have taken. Right? I just want to watch a good content on which is a video streaming. So if we have to survive in this game as I hate to call traditional ecosystem, but let's say transforming ecosystem. If we have to survive in this game, we got to be right there in the consumer's mindset, or top of their mind recall. That's the crux of it. And Ashish, good to have you around, friend. It's a very valid point. Absolutely valid point.
What about the rest of y'all? Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
I think this is one area where we have to kind of ratify it from TRAI because it doesn't allow us to do that. So I would love to kind of have this, where we have the linear subscription and OTT also, but the regulation doesn't allow us because they would again come back with their own restrictions on OTT as well. So what are we talking about here? It's a wishful thinking, but the kind of regulations we have today, it doesn't allow us to do anything.
Fair point. I think
right now we're operating in 1.0. I don't know what's going to happen. Right now the matter is again in Bombay High Court. We are right now fighting that, and here you're looking at dovetailing along with the OTT, which would, I think, complicate the entire thing. But I think it's a very valid point which Ashish has made today. And that's what exactly is happening in the developed markets. Here in India, we can't do much because we have so much of regulation and over-regulations where it doesn't allow us to do anything.
Ideally, you should have a market-based pricing, for you to really price the content. But then now we're talking ideal world, which doesn't help the conversation much here.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think that boat has sailed as of now. I mean, all we're trying to say is, soft hands of regulation will help it grow. Why not have a single video economy? Rightly said. But what Gurjeev is pointing out, I mean, we're still, battling with one piece of the regulation, and to have another piece built into it, seriously looks like a pipe dream.
Yeah. So other questions are coming in. Bibhuti Misra. OTT can be synergized better with traditional TV. Any views of the panelists on this?
Said that.
So that's just answered, I think, by Amit.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we've got Anirudh Kalia saying telecom services manage their subscribers exceedingly well. The analytics of usage are used by retention agencies to upsell and cross-sell packs. How does TV industry use analytics? Do broadcasters and DTH share audience usage insights with members of the value chain?
Let Samba answer that.
So we do some bit of analytics. Actually, as you know that in DTH industry, there's only one-way communication. So the return path is not there. However, we have some sample dongles, a few thousand, tens of thousands of dongles are there, through which we get some kind of a back channel, in the sense the reverse path identification, based on which we do some customer segmentation, like what channels they are watching, which regions are focusing on which channels. We realize that, okay, what we are seeing as a trend is that there is a trend towards watching more and more regional content. That is happening in an accelerated fashion. After COVID, in fact, the trend is seen more. Kids content, obviously, because of the COVID situation, kids content watching has increased a lot more actually. And in terms of VAS services, there was an earlier question, Manwari was asking, VAS services, we are seeing some cooking related VAS services or fitness related VAS services. They are seeing an uptick, which is natural, quite natural, I assume. Whether they do the exercise or not, at least they want to watch people doing exercises.
I like that.
So,
whether the exercise or not.
Huh?
Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So yes, we are seeing we do a lot of analytics actually. Just simple point is that we try and do a lot of upselling based on the customer analytics so that our hit rate in terms of conversion is on the higher side. That's the objective. So that we don't do carpet bombing. We select those customers and we try to upsell channels to them based on our estimate of which will be appealing to which type of customers. So that is how the analytics is.
Yeah, how successful has that exercise been?
No, historically it's been successful actually. So we have been doing this not now, actually for the last so many years we have been doing it, and we keep on improving our analysis capabilities over a period of time. So this is not.
So, but are you getting a conversion rate of 30%, 40% in upselling?
Yeah, I would say
20%?
30 and 40. Yeah, 30 and 40 is a reasonable number. Yes.
But
Okay.
otherwise, among cable, RPD is something that we've all been dreaming of. But it's two things. One is it's a cost to us, return path data. Second is also getting, because of the ecosystem, has a LCO in between. So occasionally that's a challenge for us, and the privacy. I think DTH and Samba mentioned, for them it's easier probably to have a few thousand here and there. But I think Anil Malhotra has been also looking at that RPD, right? Return path data. So a couple of us have been studying it, but we haven't really deployed it actively right now. And then our question is, if we deploy it, is it significant enough? Even, I mean, what is significant, or what is a valid sample size? So that is something that always concerns us, because we don't, unlike the DTH business, which could know its customer much better, for us probably demographics and psychographics may be limited to a fair extent. All we know is probably location.
Yeah, so this is something which Rajiv is asking. Your biggest challenge, as far as Rajiv Parekh, he's saying biggest challenge to DPOs, mostly MSOs, they don't know their customers with just knowledge. No profiling of customers to market any product. They have left this to the LCO. Can this change?
But I think that is the industry. I think that is the nature of the industry. That is the nature of the industry that has been there. That is how the cable television industry was formulated and built upon, right? We have been working with the local cable operators to build up a database, but I think it's a long, hard road, and it's not easy. And is it optimal? No, it's not optimal. We definitely would have preferred it to be, much more different and be in line with other industries where you would know your customer or know your consumer. And I think it's a challenge that we've lived with for the last 25 years of the industry. And all I can say is that, with each passing year, we're probably getting a little better. But is it optimal? No. I mean, for sure, we're not optimal in terms of having data on the customer.
No, Nagesh, sorry. Let me ask Nagesh this, Raman, a minute. Nagesh, you have a lot of last mile customers of your own. How well do you know your customers that you can upsell to them? How well have you profiled your customers? You're an MSO, you have LCOs, plus you have a last mile.
Since the customers are there with us from last 25 years, actually it is intuition and pulse how we drive the market.
Yes.
And around 67% of the base what we have goes with the packages which the MSO or DPO designs. And that shows that it's successful for us. If my packages is successful, maximum of my customers would take it. If the customers don't take it, that means my feel with the customer is not there. But in my network, around 70% is the package which is driven with what I design. So that's how we come to know, as per the geography of our city and languages which they see, and depending on the pockets and what money they have, we design the packages. So I have a package right from 95 rupees right up to 750 rupees.
So the 750 is a very small number, is it, of take?
Yeah. See, what
percentage? Yeah.
Sorry. So, like what Samba said, unless you have
Continue.
a panel and you are doing, you're checking with your customers and you have a reverse path, unless you have that kind of setup, you will be always conjecturing, what your customers are watching. So if you have a panel setup, like what Tata Sky does, I think it's a phenomenal way. Yeah. And I think what Winsley also said, while this is a thing of the past, we didn't have it. But going forward, if we can align our LCO, operators also, that it is important that we understand what our consumers are watching, and also it would help you to kind of build a business for yourself as well as for your direct consumers. So it's time we kind of get them on a partnership mode, make them understand, and kind of teach them, educate them, and then only it'll unlock for you. Otherwise, we'll keep going in circles.
I think I would just want to add one thing.
I can assure you, we already have it.
We already
have that in place, and a lot of our boxes are integrated with our broadband, and we are getting a lot of data from the box to the network, where we have a software which compiles it, and we can tell you on a minute basis, on an hour basis, at what particular time, who is watching what. If you want to identify, the number of boxes are very less for those boxes which have been connected with the internet, but there are at least more than 3,000 such boxes where we get a feedback from the consumers, and they are installed across the network.
So I think Suresh is a good idea if we can, get the analysis and use these analysis to kind of look at how I best can upsell, cross-sell, and make use of this data.
I think I want to add one thing.
Unfortunately, we have not been able to get a market value for it. Like Nagesh said, we also work more on what our consumers are talking to us, or our cable operators talking to the consumers and getting back to us. More on that ratio. Here we are trying to find out, okay, this guy is watching this is our content, and not further to that.
Having said that though, Gurjeev, I think a lot of us have started primary research on the ground, which may not be electronic analytics, but literally, primary research that we're doing. Like, for example, even when the COVID-19 onslaught was there, when we made calls, and I think we shared the data also with the broadcast.
Yes,
remember sending your office.
Right. That's
very interesting. It threw up different findings in terms of what is the percentage of people that were migrating home and promised that when they come back, they would activate their package. How many people said that, they wanted to take a break from content again, because all hotels, institutions. So I think primary research has started. It's not accelerated to a great extent, but we're hoping to see that happen. And you're right, it will overall help the industry if we have our data. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, we've been laggards in that side of things.
Malhotra sir, what about you? Raman, you can come in after that.
Yeah.
What about your network?
You see,
knowing your customer.
You see, as far as customer is concerned, largely we are since into B2B play. So saying that we do have direct connect with the customers and we can talk to him is not there. But whatever choices that customer has made has been captured in our system and in our backend, which can be analyzed very well. In fact, we can tell that a particular subscriber, if he has chosen a la carte, what kind of a la carte channels he has chosen, what kind of packaging he has chosen. Basis that if any upselling has to be done or any marketing has to be done, it is an easily doable things which we do analysis when we are forming packages. We do such kind of analysis that what will suit the majority of the population. So we can configure a DPO pack, what we call it, can be made of. Having a direct connect call to the customer would be better, but being our business model is B2B and we prefer that our operators do that thing with the customer in real time is good, because you see, whatever our operators are doing to activate or deactivate the choices are ultimately doing it through our system. This is a well robust system as far as cable goes. Yes, in real time, if we were a two-way network, that would have helped, because that's how the entire broadband and based program like OTT, etc. works. They give you choose a movie on OTT, it will give you a selection of other movies of similar type which you can select for. But that is only when you are a two-way network. On a single way, there would be limitations.
Correct. Right.
Yeah. So Raman, you wanted to make a point. There are questions coming below. I don't think I can take the conversation they want to, because people want to have questions answered. So what were you saying, Raman?
So I think very quickly, one thing I want to say that, see, when we are in media business, there is nothing called as a B2B business. I think we got to first think that every media business is a B2C business, clearly. Look at newspaper industry, 10 million newspaper readers, and they hardly know any of them. And they are now struggling when they move to digital, that how do we connect back with them? How do we keep them monetizing? But I think it would have been okay to say in pre-DAS area that the industry works like this, so we don't know consumers. But the whole purpose of DAS, the subscriber management systems, was that we invest more and understand consumers more. Now the ideal would be a written path, but written path, I would agree with Vinsley, there is a cost to it. There are many parameters, but you can at least, industry can invest into knowing consumers from a lot of the social parameters. And
so I'm going to interrupt you for a sec. I'm going to interrupt you. Can there be long-term contracts between the MSO and the LCO so that there is no sense of distrust? The sense of distrust reduces. Could that be a solution?
Anil, answer that.
Anil.
it would be very
Why
difficult.
not a long-term contract between a broadcaster and MSO?
If I say,
it depends on that.
From a loyalty perspective, today the operators I have been with me since beginning. Some of them have come afterwards, and some have left also. So that's a kind of business we are in. New licenses are issued every day. Broadcasters also are providing content to them. So there would be enough competition in years to come. So saying that there would be a loyalty forever doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist still. So
No,
that's a problem.
Anil, I'd like to add on here. If you see the history, and if you have seen a cable network, its numbers, more or less, year on year, you'll find it on a flat growth. It might have lost some numbers, it might have gained some numbers. 95% of the cable operators have stayed with us in off and on times.
Yeah.
So the loyalty
So you
factor
should
is
know your
not
customer
a very
better.
big
So you
issue.
should know the LCO better.
No, we
And
know
the
our
LCO
LCOs
customer
better.
and the customer
have
better.
any-
Final customer at home. The final customer at home.
Since we are visiting till the end is our cable operator, our team do visit certain consumers. Our team do visit. It's not that they don't visit at all, but that's a very minuscule number. With the amount of numbers that we have spread across the horizon, the numbers are very minuscule, and whatever results that will come out may not justify. Like it might be something like a box number when you have got such a number and a very minuscule number. But that feedback, I think, our cable operators give us anyway without having so much.
Yeah, but then how are you going to increase the ARPU to the level that is expected and make it a more robust industry in times like this? Unless you know your consumer very well.
I talked about ARPU initially itself.
Yeah.
A consumer has been taught, a consumer has been fed that cable TV is going to be cheaper now. So the moment you think it is going to be cheaper, you will be looking for cheaper only. And now if you can know, I can make it further cheap. That is the reason I said we need to promote it. It is already cheap. If you are paying 10, 20 rupees a day, it's already cheap. That's what we need to promote.
I understand. But OTT itself, if you look at all the bundles, if you look at all the OTT platforms, a guy will end up paying 700, 800 bucks for it. You look at all of them, more than that, 2,000 bucks.
Anil, not only that,
He's paying much more, but he selects only one or two. Here we are giving him 400 options. There he's got one or two options. If you give him all the OTT together, he cannot pay that. Here, if I am supposed to give one package, then Gurji might kill me. You are giving him a priority, not me. I have to give all broadcasters equal priority, and that is the reason our packaging is that.
I thought consumer is making the choice. Consumer is picking whatever he wants.
But
whether you push it down his throat or not.
You are choosing one or two or three OTTs. But if you are talking about all the OTTs, I don't think consumers are ready for it. Consumers are ready for it. Here we are giving you more or less all the available channels which you need. So you cannot really compare it with OTT.
I understand, but if you look at Samba's packaging with his, he's giving away the dongle, which he's giving away. I've forgotten what it's called. I'm growing old.
Binge.
But he's giving binge. So you're giving so many things away with it. You're giving away, if you pay a specific price, you're giving so many subscriptions.
I added while I was talking that we are coming out with an Android box where you can have this OTT, you can have your cable connections, and you can have lot many things. Probably your TV viewing, when you will go with this Android box and your TV viewing, for your normal television channels will be different. But if you're watching a particular channel, you'll be getting what is going to be the next content. You will be able to see what is this movie is all about. You can have an EPG on that. So everything is ready, and I think most of us, I think all the MSOs must be working it. We are ready to launch it anytime.
Yeah.
I think I'll tell you the key question here is for any platform today is how do I ring fence my customer? I mean, if we are seeing a binge as a proposition along with linear, or we are seeing, another player doing, I'm conversing an integration of Woot Select and Woot Kids on an Android box along with linear channels. I mean, these are all the propositions that are available on the table. The final question is, how do you retain that customer in your ecosystem? We may say that cable is cheap or DTH is priced higher or lesser, or somebody needs to talk to the consumer. The final solution, the panacea will be that if you're able to hold on to your customer, be it broadcaster or be it platform that matter, what are those 2, 3, 4, 5 things that need to be done over prospectively?
I think Vanwari, Amit's point is valid, because even if you look at during this entire pandemic time, people are working from home. People are looking at what is my essential home toolkit. What is it I need at home to get going? I need to have a great, I need to be able to see live news. Why? Because the news that I will get on live news channels is obviously keeping me updated and abreast of what the government is saying, what the Prime Minister is saying, what the Chief Minister. So I want live news, right? And therefore I want a cable television or DTH connection. I definitely want a broadband connection because I want to be able to surf the net. I also need to be able to make calls to, to my staff. So I need something like Zoom or Citrix or anything. So suddenly people are looking at what is that essential toolkit. And OTT becomes one piece in that toolkit. It doesn't become the be all and end all. It becomes one component that fits into everything else. Premium content, as Gurjeev said, premium content has a plug in that place, right? Cable television has a plug in that place. Broadband has a plug in that. So I think it's a jigsaw puzzle, and I think which DPO can fulfill all the needs of a customer best. It's as simple as that. And where I have to just make one single call to one single platform and be able to ensure that the 5 things that I as a customer look for: broadband, cable television, video, data, streaming, right? That's all I want, because anyway, broadband allows me to communicate using, Zoom VC like we are right now. So I think once you've got those 5 bits in place, customers are very happy. It's not like they're looking out and saying, no, I need a separate, OTT platform. I need a separate. I'm very happy if I've got these 5 pieces that make up what I need as an essential work from home toolkit. I think that is what's come out in COVID-19. And that is something that the research has also kind of proven. That's exactly what Anilji was also pointing out. That's what we're seeing, Amit mentioned it, that's what customers are looking for. This is the basic, what is the basic things I need to get by,
So again, you have to demographically profile it.
Demographically profile, as in the way you demographically profile, Anil, is you'd say, oh, sorry, Suresh, okay. The way you demographically profile.
That what 1, 2, 3, 4 things that we need to do to retain our customers, and it's very correctly that we need to do. If we see a history, the channels that we are showing today, you name any particular channels, you call them niche, you call them not so niche, they were the channels which were provided to each and every segment of the community, right from phase 3, 4 to phase 1 and 2. So they are all generalized channels. Now when you launch, instead of a Star Plus, if you launch a Star Plus Utsav or something like that, then you are looking for going to a regional market, or you're going to a phase 3, 4 market. But if you launch a premium product, you leave Star Plus for a normal people, for everybody who was watching it. From a city to a district, everybody was watching it. So he thinks that is his prerogative to watch that channel. You cannot take away that channel from him. But if you launch a premium channel, which might be any cost, and that you segment for a segment of the community, I think you will make a differentiator.
Yes.
I told in the beginning itself that we need to differentiate phase 3, 4 with phase 1 and 2. Either you do with a current content, or you create a set of new content. If we are giving the same content that we were giving in the past, then his expectations are not wrong. If he was getting earlier, why he should not be getting it now? He was getting the same content at a particular amount, why he should not be getting at that amount now? But if he is not getting a different content, he will not be complaining about it. At the same time, it is very important that our customers don't complain. So we need to think about this aspect. How do we address this? I know it's a very difficult thing to do. I'm talking about a new content, a content which is expensive, a content which might take some time to establish itself.
But people are paying. How much are people paying for your VAS services? $40, $50, $80? Samba? If you unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself first. So people are willing to pay. And what numbers are you getting?
So yes, you are right. It's about $40, $50 at all. So we do get good traction in our what you can say value-added services, and we have been actively promoting them as well. These value-added services, there is a continuous. You have to continuously upgrade the content. Actually, in the sense that you have to change the content. If you do the same fitness exercise every time, the people will get bored. Or the same Vedic mathematics is there, people will get bored. So there is also a cost of refreshing the content. So it's a revenue share model which you are working on. And yes, there is a lot of effort to keep the interest alive for the customers. It's on an average 40-50 rupees. It's not.
Yeah, but are you willing to upsell a premium channel?
Yes,
apart from VAS?
Yeah, we are willing to, of course.
Okay, great. So when he has a hard stop, Samba will get off at 4:50. He said. So
Okay.
that probably is the last time we are seeing him. If he doesn't say something before 4:50.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Anyone else was making a point?
Anil, there was my favorite question, which is there. I was just looking at the questions from Vishal Mathur, and
yes,
you know, I've been shouting myself hoarse since a long time, and finally.
Can you read the question? Can you read the question?
Is from Vishal Mathur. He talks about. He talks about question to broadcasters. One, is there been a trend? Some channels have shut down, which we already discussed, right? Then he said there was already discussions among DTH platforms for merger, sharing of infrastructure to save cost. Post-COVID, will this escalate, right?
Yeah, Samba, this is for you.
Yeah, which is basically on sharing of infrastructure, right? Which is what I think all of us as DPOs have to look at. There is no question about it. And that is the only way to be able to bring our costs down, because all of us have certain cost structures which are hugely challenging. And I think any infrastructure sharing that can be between MSOs, DTH, all our platforms put together, I think we're able to leverage it much better.
Just like the telcos, you all can set up a separate company which can run the infrastructure.
Right. And
come on, Samba, before you. I'll
let you chip in because I know you're running off.
Yeah. So yes, we are not definitely not averse to infrastructure sharing wherever it is possible. The only challenge, what I personally see, is the regulatory challenge, because we need the regulation to be favoring that. So they have informally been talking about allowing infrastructure sharing, but there is no specific law in place, as far as I know, that clearly allows infrastructure sharing. So you need to get the regulatory approval before we proceed on those lines. But we are definitely open to sharing infrastructure for sure.
But Samba, if there is no law right now, why do you need a regulatory approval?
No, it's like this. When you start doing things, I agree with you. It is like OTT, what you are saying, right? So there is no law. So whatever they do, there is nobody who's questioning us. But it is always better that tomorrow you never know whether OTT will be covered under TRA or not. It can happen anytime. So that Damocles sword is hanging on your head all the time, right?
But Gurjeet, just to take on Samba's point, from a perspective of MSOs, we're all using infrastructure. DTH may have a challenge, obviously, because it's supposed to be direct to home, right, specifically. But from us, in terms of B2B, it becomes much easier because we're using the same fat pipes, right? Yeah. Anil has a network in Delhi. We have a network in Delhi. He has a head end, for example, in Mumbai. I have in Mumbai. Why use two separate fat pipes to Delhi, which costs us a huge amount of money? Or we have a hits platform. Anil has a network. Great example. I mean, we're just doing right now, and Suresh will also agree with this. There are so many MSOs that have been hit horribly, not just by COVID, but by Cyclone Amphan and Nisarga, right? Nisarga we have had in Maharashtra. We've been approached by a whole bunch of small MSOs, really small MSOs, right? 8,000, 10,000 points. And they're struggling because they had all their connectivity via fiber to their head end, and now they're completely out at sea. So they're like, can we use your service over hits, etc. So this is something obviously we're looking at doing, just to answer that question. And we're working already with the MSOs, because the good thing is the law permits us to be able to provide that kind of service. So that is my take.
Okay, I'm just going to ask a question from Colonel Vinod Khare, an old timer from this industry. All of you are local in Vinod Khare, right?
Yeah.
So he's got a question. He says he wants the basis for pricing of pay TV content. What's the basis you price the content the way it is? One. Second, COVID has pushed up education online. Third, how will cable DPO face this in competition with FTTH? Yeah, it's over to you all now.
Amit is switching off his Amit.
No, I'm not switching off. I mean,
I'm just saying, designing
because the question looks a bit controversial. I think that is one question that everybody's been trying to find out. I mean, how do you price your content? I mean, world over, economists have had 2-3 formulas. Can I do a cost plus? Can I do a margin plus? These kind of, that doesn't work in content really. I mean, today, if my input cost goes up, if the star starts charging me 2x the money, I mean, what do I do? That's precisely the question. And so what have we done? We've gone by whatever empirical learnings that we have in the market today. I mean, empirical learnings are there. I mean, how are DPOs, deciding on the retail pricing in the pre-NTO world? I mean, you had certain empirical learnings, and that's what you went forward with. I mean, that's really the answer I have.
Okay, the second one is, again, it's, Gurjeet, do you want to take a part of this, or you want to let it go, or let it slide? Or then I go on to the MSO question?
Go on the MSO
Gurjeet?
one.
Okay.
Mr. Khare,
Okay.
not in this meeting, but a couple of other forums also. That's his favorite question. I know.
Yeah, I know. Malhotra sir.
As far as FTTH is concerned, that is a natural progression of coaxial to fiber. Now, slowly on down the line, like I said, as a platform, we don't have much choices as far as content upselling or packaging is concerned. Broadcasters have the right to form their own packages, which are somehow added by DPO in a super package and sent to customers. We can't break broadcasters' bouquet until unless we want to take their channel in a la carte and form bouquet, which are not practical. Now the question is, what do you do as far as packaging is concerned? If that is not much in your hand, so you can continue to focus on the service side. Service side, I believe slowly all the MSOs and operators will migrate to FTTH, where they will be able to provide broadband and cable together on a single fiber. We have also started doing that. Many others in the country have started doing it, and that is the future. So there would be two aspects. One is content. Like I said, I am not an expert in content, but I am an expert in services. So we will focus on services. If the content is coming linear way, we have cable or the linear fiber available to us. If content is coming in OTT, then we have a broadband pipe available with us, which we will use to provide service. So we will have our share in every pie, means whether it is OTT or broadband. But since we do not produce content, we neither can decide, nor like I said earlier, which Raman didn't like, that I don't have expertise in marketing content. So once I have no expertise, I should admit that I'm not a very good marketer of or upselling of content. Unfortunately, our government also looks upselling differently. Prices after NTO2 had risen slightly. I think 30-40 rupees would have gone up because of the, again, fair revenue share between the partners. And they came heavily on us and said that, no, you have to, now you have another version now, which is NTO2, which we have to implement. Now that, so there are population is also diverse, means 30 million people don't pay anything for cable. There were channels which were not available on free dish. Suddenly they were withdrawn. Now we see that some of them are going back there. So probably some channels also decided that, look, it is not possible to ask channels to be pay, and some of the content which need to be marketed should be free. So like I said, and there are OTT guys also rightly pointed out by Raman and Gurjeev that people are ready to pay 2,000 rupees for all the OTT content. So in a diverse country like India, you will have to see where your share of pie lies. As far as cable is concerned, I see we will be going FTTH slowly, may not be immediately, probably wherever demand comes from, probably next 4 or 5 years, we'll see that 30 to 40% of the networks will turn into FTTH, where cable operators will definitely, today, probably OTT is not giving any revenue share to the platforms. Slowly, they will also start giving that. That will be the business model.
Yeah, so this is a question from your distributor in at Adoni town in Andhra Pradesh. He's saying, I'm Vijay Kant, Gandla Vijay Kant. My question is there any chance to increase our revenue from customers? going by the situation, can I increase my revenue?
If regulatory provisions permit you and you are able to sell within those limits.
Well, that's a catch-22 for him. So he hasn't got an answer really. So again, one question is popping up again and again. If you look at the question answer,
he can always make some more revenue by promoting a higher pack to his customers.
Absolutely.
If he can do that and he can convince those customers, he can always make a little more profit.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, the question which is very sensitive is about sports. You know, they're showing old content and there won't be much of sports. So why should we go with the old deals that we struck with you?
So,
lots of other cable operators and MSOs are saying. So who'd like to take it up? Yeah.
I'll take it up. Anil, first of all, I think this is a new regime we are in, and we are talking about consumers making that choice whether this content is relevant, good for me, my family or not. And he picks and drops channel the way he deems fit. So I don't think so there is any discussion with the DPOs here on this, because they are providing, as they said, they are a pipe and they are pushing this content to their customers. The customer decides whether this is relevant for me. So they'll make that choice whether any pack, whether a DPO pack or a pack which is being pushed by a broadcaster or even a la carte channels are worth his while or not. So like I said, there are some channels, we talk about sports, there are some sports channels we have which just got dropped because there was no, let's say, sport live action. But now we've got Bundesliga, we've got EPL, we've seen customers coming back. Samba is not there, but I'm sure Samba would vouch for that the customers who had dropped earlier because sports was not there, live action is getting the subscription of sports channels back on. So it is not a fixed fee regime anymore where you go and kind of do a negotiation with a DPO and get the money. The customer is making that choice.
Sure.
So what's the issue?
Got
now?
your point. Yeah, that's it.
I'll like to add on here. If a customer is given a pack where the sports channels are already there, and there is a content he was paying for and that content is not available, he is definitely asking for a discount. He is looking for a discount because he thought, I have asked for a particular set of content and I'm not getting my content. So at least in that period, when you are not able to give me for whatever reason, you should offer me a discount. And that discount should go to the consumer. I'm not saying you give it to the MSO, you give it to the cable operator, you have to give it to the consumer.
Can I answer?
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Suresh, we also have a la carte option there. If the consumer doesn't want a bouquet or he doesn't want a particular channel, he can.
We all know our packaging are such that a la cartes don't work out. The packages are such that a la cartes don't work out. That is the reason the TRAI has so many questions. Otherwise, they will not be discussing it with us.
So I think, Suresh, one hand we say that our rates are not all that exorbitantly expensive. One hand we say that we want to push expensive channels. Here we are talking about a channel which is 19 rupees or less. Am I right? Any of the channels which are there in a bouquet are 19 and less today?
We said there is a set of customers who can pay. There is a set of customers who cannot pay or has a limitation to pay. The complaints will come from a people who have limitations to pay, who have somehow managed to subscribe for it and not getting it. So not getting the content that he was wanting for.
I agree, but the answer somehow lies that he has to make that call whether the bouquet option works well for him or the a la carte option works well for him.
Gujiv, this is a very rare situation. He was not talking to you that why you have not taken this rights or that rights. You were showing some live content and he was saying fine with it. The situation is such that there is no, and maybe you cannot be blamed for it. The situation is such. But he feels because it is not there, why I should not be given a discount on it?
Okay, see, I'll tell you, let's look at the electricity situation in Bombay. A lot of customers were not charged the bills because they were not reading the meters. Recently, they've come up with very high bills and people have complained. But the reality is that's a cost even the broadcasters are carrying. So that's a cost your star is carrying.
If you are not showing a live content, the broadcaster will someday get a discount for that live content not being recorded, not being shown. I don't think the broadcasters will be charged for it.
Can we
Yeah,
look
but again,
for the future at least that it will go down?
no, in fact, if you look at I'm not speaking on behalf of the broadcasters, but I think the contracts as such.
I don't want to say this, but there are.
No, I'm not. I'm just giving a suggestion. I'm not saying that he has to give. I'm saying since you raised this question, since Banwari raised this question, I'm saying
I didn't raise the question. I did not. It's coming from
somebody raised the question. Somebody raised the
I think
question.
Suresh, you raised the question.
We were getting a lot of phone calls. We were getting a lot of complaints from the consumer sides and the cable operator side that why this should not be looked into.
So
if you
Suresh,
can look into it, that's the request.
No, sure. But West Bengal is a market. Suresh, you also know.
I'm not talking about West Bengal. I think this could be the rest of the country same.
Okay, you raised it. That's why I'm answering your question. But
okay, fine.
So answer karo, finish.
मैंने बताया कि अगर it's a customer who has to decide, sir, if he wants to take a la carte or he wants to go for a bouquet option. आज की डेट में किसी के पास choice नहीं, सिर्फ customer के पास choice है.
Correct.
Yeah, so there are some other. Anil, you want to take it up?
Yeah, I would tend to agree here with Gurjeev. Look, as a platform, I get a revenue share. So the content is priced at X or Y or Z doesn't bother me that much as long as my revenue share is intact. In fact, if the content is going to go low cost or free, it will hurt me ultimately in my pocket only. Because my revenues will go down. But yes, the customer complaint, like Sureshji was saying, would be there because this was an unfortunate thing, and making change in packages, etc., also is not good for the continuity. Broadcasters also price their content not based on a particular event or a particular month. I think it is averaged out basis that content they are going to get.
So let me no, hang on. Let me ask you this question, Suresh. Let's say if I have a property which is.
We lost, so Gurjeev, your voice.
Yeah, Gurjeev, now we can.
Yeah, we have got you back.
Now we can hear you.
Sorry. I got logged off. I'm just saying if I have, let's say, the same sporting action coming next year, would you double my rate or give me a higher rate?
I couldn't get you. When you're already charged for it, how can you double it?
No. I'm just saying, let's say if you are asking for a discount right now, if I give a discount, can I ask for
a higher rate? You are asking for the customer is asking for a discount because that content is not there.
Baba,
you have already, when you were charging for it, the content was there in that list.
So I am just
now
saying.
You are saying that there is a basket which carries, say, 10 apples. Now I'll give you 6 apples, I will charge you the same. Tomorrow, if I give you 10, will you pay me 20?
Then
you cannot have that as a question.
Sir, Gurjeev ji is right, but one thing I must tell you, Gurjeev ji, the new ceiling is 12. You are already at 19. If you want to double it, you will have to go out of packaging.
The new ceiling hasn't come in. Right now, the current ceiling is 19.
Yeah. All right. Great. I've got other questions also. We'll just run through these, and then I think we'll have a parting remarks after that. What are the chances that broadcasters can extend this only for the pandemic period? Discounts.
We didn't get
any chance of passing on discounts?
You're not
so again, there's Radhakrishna MY. I think he's running one of the cable networks, AsiaNet, I think, or one of those. So he's asking, what are the chances that broadcasters extending discounting for this pandemic period? Can they extend some discounts? If it's no, then it's no. I think the answer is no. So we move on to the next one.
They're still thinking, I think.
No, I
just still thinking.
I just nodded. I mean, no conversation at IndiaCast right now.
No conversation has happened.
Nope.
But okay. I'm not able to fathom, Anil, why are these questions coming when we know that the customer is paying and DPOs are passing on what customer is paying? Where is the issue of getting discount coming from?
No, Guji, in that case, I'd like to add on here. There is a certain number of customers who could not go to the cable operator's place, or the cable operator could not reach them. There are so many red zones where operators have still not been able to go, but they have not switched off their connections. Tomorrow they will get the payment or not is not sure. Their billing is on. If their billing is on, the broadcaster's billing is anyway on. Tomorrow when finally they will go, I am sure some customers may not pay. If you take the case of Bengal, in Bengal, the government said, even if a customer is not able to reach to you for payment, you cannot switch them off. And it's a legal binding. So cable operators, even if they want it, they can't switch off. During Amphan, the situation was that people didn't have broadband. So now if somebody has to switch off a connection, if he's not paying during a period of at least 15, 20 days, he didn't have a broadband connection, not even telco's connections in proper where he can switch off his connections. So there were situations, maybe limited, not a very unlimited number, where there will be some issues in the future. I think the person who is putting a question is putting from that behalf.
Okay.
The guy was from Asianet, so Amphan was not there.
I think.
Maybe he's talking about COVID only. Maybe he's talking about COVID
he's M.Y. Radhakrishnan. I think he's from Asianet, I mean, if I remember right.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, please.
How it is, everyone, all MSOs and LCOs thought that this would be 2 months or 3 months process. That is, pandemic will last for 3 months or 4 months. If it extends more than 6 months, what Suresh says, it is difficult for everyone to collect money and put it. If you think for a long term, some plans have to come up. That's our suggestion.
No, I agree, and I think Nagesh, we all know unless we move on the digital digital payment mode, this would become absolutely impossible. Raman made that point that you guys have done a brilliant job by moving that needle dramatically. I think Winsley made that point. The number was closer to 30-40%, but now it's now gone to 50 or 60%. Now all I think efforts you are making to push that aggressively, we are also kind of shouldering that responsibility. But if we come back now and start taking these lame excuses, saying that what's happening?
I'll correct Gurjeet here.
I'm just saying.
Nice, bhai. I'll correct Gurjeet.
No, 1 minute.
If we are talking about 40-50% collections coming in, he's talking about the cable operators paying, not 40-50% consumers paying. If you go to district levels, if you go to phase 3-4 levels, you will still not find. You'll still not find about 50-60% people even downloaded that app of your pay.
Leave aside paying. Winsley to handle that question.
Sure. So, Gurjeet, you're right, because for example, in Mumbai, 80% of our operators, and as I mentioned earlier, it was about 30%. It's now, that was about 2 months ago. Now about 60% of 55%, 60% has recorded at least one digital transaction. So that you're right, it's a significant thing. But also,
the cable operator or consumer you're talking about, Winsley.
Correct. The city, absolutely, exactly, Suresh.
No, he's saying cable operator or the customer.
No, consumer. I'm talking about consumer using EaseBuzz. But Suresh, you're absolutely right. And Gurjeet, if you recall, I also mentioned that there are some places where connectivity, etc., is a problem. Where they've done some innovative things, going to the Kirana store, leaving money, where cable operators have made the payment on their behalf, right? So that is what, I think that's what Suresh is alluding to, that there is a significant base of that type of customer too, that requires that kind of support. Correct, Suresh? That's what you're
that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
So could there be some innovative partnerships with the telcos, for example? Each of those consumers will have a telco connection. They keep their telco number always alive. Now, could there be some out-of-box thinking that, I do a partnership with telco through the telco bill, I'm just thinking aloud right now. I think more we sit back, options of digital payments could be many. And I think that needs to be increased more and more.
Raman, I think
Raman, what has happened in cable is that cable operator is not collecting the month on a prepaid basis. He is collecting on a random basis. He might be, your connection might have been due today. He is collecting it 3 days from now, or he must have collected in advance also, or he must be collecting a month later.
Yes, so Suresh, what you're admitting to is inefficiencies in the system. Now the efficiencies need to come in.
Maybe the way of working, of course. Yeah. Maybe the way of working, because that's the way they have been.
Because if your electricity bill is not paid, you pay a fine for paying late payment. If you don't pay a mobile phone bill, yes, so.
I think if you talk to the cable operators, they will say this is the service we give to the consumer.
That's not service. That's disservice to the whole ecosystem. No offense meant to any of you.
You might be right on it. But that's exactly the thing. We are emotionally connected with the local people. We are a local guy, and we always give this extra service. That's exactly what the cable operators will
I
come
can
out
tell
and
you
say.
about service. I'm in a 7-star locality. I had 3 cable connections. I've disconnected all 3 and nobody's come to me. Nadir and all of them are my dear friends. So let me tell you,
But they must have
service.
they must have really felt bad
LCO.
about it. That why do you have disconnected?
No. I don't think so. I think what's
So they have
happening is
not called you
broadband is
because they feel bad.
broadband is serving the needs of the so much that they're not really crazy after the video customer. If you get what I'm saying. No offense meant to any no MSO.
If it is so, I am so sorry about it.
No, you don't have to be. I'm just saying the economy, the entire economics of cable TV are changing now. So, and we have to be ready for that. Service has to really go up in cable TV. DTH has shown a landmark. It's gone up, but it needs to go up further. You need to know your customer better. You need to understand and start getting an efficiencies in terms of payments. It's very important for the whole ecosystem to work robustly. Otherwise, tomorrow Gurji will be in trouble. Tomorrow you'll be in trouble. Then there'll be fights again. And what's the use of fighting? Let's build a robust ecosystem where everyone can. No, I'm just saying where we can take ARPUs up, where we can make this entire industry more robust. Because OTT is there lurking around. Free dish is there lurking around. We haven't talked about the threat of free dish to the whole cable TV ecosystem, and it's even people in urban areas who are taking free dish, not just in rural areas. It's across India. So those are the challenges the ecosystem is facing. Broadcasters will launch a channel where they'll sell ads and they'll make money. What about cable TV? How will you all face this threat? There's Geo coming with its entire FTTH, and there's tons of things which I'll have to grapple with and get ready and be ready for the future. No offense meant to anyone, please, and please don't mind my outburst. Yeah. So coming back again.
Point taken.
There's some more questions. So there is a viewer saying there should be no discount for the pandemic. One of the Vibhuti Mishra is saying there should be no discount. The reason being that time spent on TV is better than other periods. Because people are spending more time, it's being made up. Yeah. So that's what his view is.
No, if I don't
and then
like,
he's adding that concept of.
No, if I don't like something,
Continue,
I can just take a call. What channels I'm not liking, what bouquets I'm not liking. So I can make that call, inform my cable operator or DTH player, and get a discount on that. It's not difficult.
Yeah. So Vibhuti is also saying concept of customer not paying is misnomer and travesty of truth. That's a very, very harsh word, travesty. Anyway, from our perspective, let's move on with that. We've had a very robust equation. I hope this, getting all of you all together has spurred some new thoughts, new ideas, new ways of partnering and collaborating so we can grow this ecosystem. And, any last thoughts from each of you all? How do you see the next, because we don't know the goalposts. We don't know when is this dratted virus going away. I read today that ICMR is saying that there'll be a vaccine coming out by August 15, which I don't know whether it's true. We don't know. We don't know these facts. So keeping in mind that there is no goalpost. What does this ecosystem do to make it we've had a bad quarter last quarter. What do we do to have the next 2 quarters better? What could we all do as an ecosystem?
So, Anil, can I go first?
Please go ahead.
Okay. I think very clearly from broadcasters' perspective, and this is, I think, some news I want to just share with these people on the screen and also people who are listening and watching us. Good thing is that live sport action is back on, which I think people were questioning earlier. So starting with Bundesliga, EPL, and there are discussions going on for IPL and World Cup also. Right now, dates are not firm, but I think good thing is that it's there in discussion. So that keeps us on our toes and also keeps us salivating for good live sports content. In our regional GEC, we've started coming up with new shows, so that's a good news. Hopefully from 13th or 15th of July, we should be getting for HSM market also the new content on GEC.
13th of July. 13th of July. It's 13th.
That's right. The 13th or 15th, that's what I said. So these are all good news. So, but like you said, you don't know what's in store. How things are panning out. In Maharashtra, the number of cases are going up. While the government opens it for a couple of days, again it bans, thereafter it puts a lockdown. So one doesn't know. We are learning every day as we kind of deal with it. So we are, I think, keeping our fingers crossed. I think our friends here said that they really had worked very, very hard during, the lockdown state. We are also at broadcasters. We equally feel responsible to come out with fresh content for our viewers, keeping them engaged, keeping them, active, happy. That's our job. And we are doing any and every effort. So we'll continue doing that. But again, as I said, nobody knows what's in store. So we should just be very, very careful while the lockdown is opening, or probably in some states, it has already opened. We should be very, very cautious. We should be careful. This is really life-threatening. Until as we get the vaccine, we all need to be healthy and safe here. That's what I would end by saying this.
Yeah. Okay, Amit, going by the order
I'll tell you two things of sheer acceptance in the entire value chain. First one is going to be uncertainty. Second one is going to be expectation. Expectation, be it from a broadcaster side or a DPO side or a customer side or an LCO side. Two things which will remain over the next 4 to 6 months are definitely uncertainty and expectation. And with these two elements in mind, I think the only challenge all of us need to be prepared with is how do you engage the customer better? I mean, fresh content is starting. We lost about 4.5-5 million in the last 2 months. People need to reach out to those guys. Broadcasters need to reach out to those guys if they've gone out of the system because of live action, live sports, non-fresh content on GEC. So I think one tent pole on which all our efforts are going to go on over the next 3 to 4 months are going to be how do you engage with the customer better, but given in the background that the halo behind all our heads is going to be uncertainty and more expectations.
Wow, that's fabulously put, Amit. Anil?
I think first and foremost for platforms like us would be the safety of our manpower. Survive this pandemic first. Businesses continue to happen, they will happen. Even if you don't get fresh content, people have not gone out of the business. They have still continued to enjoy television. Some have gone on repeat shows for nostalgia. We have seen Doordarshan, Mahabharat, whatnot, Ramayan coming on TV again, reminding us of our younger days. So that will continue, and everybody has to look forward to support his business or anybody's business. Nobody can support other side beyond a given point of time. There have been times when the payments got delayed because collections could not happen. They have started now getting stabilized. So broadcasters will start getting paid of their accumulated dues or whatever period was not done there. Now going forward, I think everybody has to work together. You see, ultimately we may take our stance, but if fresh content doesn't come, then the subscriber slowly will start shifting to the less priced content, I would say. Because if he would say the same content is available on 2 channels, one is priced 1, another is priced 19. So he's going to make a choice. Fortunately or unfortunately for us today, the regulations are such that we do not have a control on consumer. Consumer has a control over us and on remote also. So we will have to make our business plan keeping everybody's need into mind. So if there are broadcasters, they need to think from platform side. Like I said, that if broadcasters don't get paid, I also don't get paid. So it is a double whammy for me also if the content is price zero. But yes, if there has to be an adjustment done due to Amphan or pandemic, we need to work together to find a mutually acceptable solution. My way or highway may not work in the long run.
Okay. All right. Nagisa?
I think, first of all, as Anil says, all have to be secured and survive for the coming months or year. And my request to broadcasters is that they also have to design something or work together with MSOs or LCOs that we amicably survive till March at least. And also, touch wood, our sector is still doing better compared to any other sectors like a restaurant or any other business. Cable or broadcast are still, at least we are walking. We are not at standstill for last 3 months. So taking the next 6 to 9 months in understanding the situation of the ground. I think all have to come together and work for a proper solution so that all survive and be safe till coming March, or at least till the vaccine is found out. Yeah.
Unless you're a third person coming in, either it's OTT or it's a regulator who'll make life even more difficult for you all. Continue. Thank you for really putting that very practically. Who else is there on the panel right now? Let me slide back. Suresh or Winsley, whoever. Yeah.
No, Suresh, please go on.
No, Winsley, you go on.
Okay. So I think Anil, Vanvari and Anil, of course, and everyone, we're keeping on talking about the interesting thing is all of us on this panel discussion and every one of us in the media industry has already gone through 1 quarter, 3 full months of how to fix the problem and how to get things in perspective. And the fantastic thing, as Nagesh also pointed out, is whatever said and done, whatever we may grumble and whatever we may argue, at least our industry is proceeding, is continuing. Today, our field teams are on the field. Today, even if we are all working from home, our business is getting along. Our collections are happening. Thanks to the LCOs, we have our subscribers connected. I think it's now a question of leveraging all our learnings of the last 3 months on how we can take it further and help to strengthen the business. Probably one thing we haven't done in the last quarter was probably strengthen our relationships across the ecosystem, whether upwards and with the broadcaster wise or downwards, going all the way and pushing, working on the consumer level. I think probably that is that should be the mantra for the next couple of quarters of how do I expand the ecosystem and how do I make it an all-inclusive way to kind of build the business. No doubt we've also learned along the way of the fact that contactless business is so important, right? I think that mantra has to stay with us, that we need to ensure our LCOs, our staff, all our colleagues are always remain safe. But at the same time, that doesn't stop any one of us from allowing our businesses to grow under innovative models. I think whether it is a question of innovative services or just working together stronger as a team, there is great light at the end of the tunnel this time. And as my favorite phrase is that, this time the light at the end of the tunnel is not the light of an oncoming train, right? So that is the way we need to look at this business, seriously. Humble point.
Really well put, yeah.
Thank you.
Suresh sir.
First, I would like to thank you for organizing such a place where we can all discuss our thoughts and our ideas. And it always enriches me when I'm getting so much of ideas from so many different people. It always enriches me, and I'm sure it must have enriched so many thousand people who are watching it. Very correctly, Anilji put it. It is the care of the team working on the ground who are not at home. For the mantra is stay home, stay safe. They are not at home, so their safety is always at risk. And whatever the best safeties we can do for them, we are trying our best. Still, they are not staying at home, so they are not safe at all. There is a lot to do for this industry. This industry, like Nagesh is very correctly said, we are one industry. We are still doing better than most of the people, most of the industries. And there's always a huge scope where we can do. I think many more such mind-throttling questions from viewers and some real good answers will do good to the industry. I thank all the people who had been watching this. I think 2.5 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
Anil, I think only you can do it, that you can keep people engaged for 2.5 hours on a content. And I salute all of you and your team for doing it.
Thank you very much, Raman. From your point of view, Raman, from your point of view, remember, NTO 2.0 is still hanging fire. When it comes out, it's going to be a kind of a Damocles sword, which is going to come on the neck. So what can the industry do in the meanwhile? What do you advise it to do? Yes, form collaborative relations. Yeah.
So I think 2-3 things. One, we have all discussed in last 2.5 hours in different form and shape. And I would sum up on that one key point, that I think there is a lot of mile that we as an industry player are yet to cover on reorientation on consumer values. I think whether it is, and Anil, you also spoke a lot about, knowing your consumers. I think this is also an opportunity to step back, build a leaner operating model, save cost on that front, because the times are tough for everybody and nobody knows how the times will shape up in next 6, 9, 12 months. So there are, build and think through of a leaner operating model, preserve that cash, use that cash into reinvesting into consumer values. We really need to know consumers. Anil, like Banwari cut his 3 connections, he's never being approached. I cut down my Tata Sky connection, I was never being approached by Tata Sky, for example, right? So I think that is the crux of it. And then, have a fundamental belief. And I always say that, when I discuss with anybody in this ecosystem, that consumers are willing to pay. They will, I think the ARPUs can be brought up to, I don't know, what would you all feel if I ask one number each, but it can be brought up to 1,000 rupees if the right content is being delivered, and there is, anyways, if you don't deliver the right content and keep the ARPUs where the ARPUs are today, industry will die out anyways because there is a better content out there. So I think there is no other way to grow the industry by delivering good content at a good ARPU. They will pay, and keep servicing them like crazily. If I put that word, you should sleep, eat, breathe consumer centricity day in, day out. And we are a completely B2C industry. If I put it like that, I think these 2-3 things, I don't see a reason why this industry will not grow. It will grow much faster than it has grown in the past.
Thank you very much, all of y'all. It's been a pleasure, and thank you to the audience for staying glued on for so long. And thank you, each of y'all. No, I had no malice intended to anyone on the panel. I'm just a neutral person who's trying to get thought processes going here. Thank you to Gurjeev, Winsley, Anil, Amit, Raman, to Nageshji, to everyone. Thank you. And until next time, hope we can do it once a month. Hope we can do this once a month. That's what the audience is asking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Take care. Be safe. Bye, Suresh. Bye, Gurjeev. Bye, Anil.